Damn, son. Oh, shit, you got the fucking... Shit, bro. Where'd you get these?
Costco.
What's up, guys? Welcome. Yard episode 4 sponsored, brought to you by Coinbase again. They didn't leave us.
Woo! Yeah, all right.
Which I'm surprised by.
You're with us for a while.
Based on the content of the last episode and before that.
You know what's
What
funny?
was wrong with the content of the last episode?
They didn't give any bad feedback, but I had a viewer who was like, a little too much shit and cum that time.
Yeah, really?
on
What cum was
episode
there?
3? What cum?
Really?
If anything,
That
they
sounds
should be-
like your Shakespeare.
They should be complaining about
What
episode
cum was
2.
there?
There was a 10-minute bit on your leaky dick.
That's not cum.
That's not cum at all.
Well, okay.
Some of it was cum.
This is
Surely.
This
Did it not start with cum?
This
You're
is-
going to tell me it didn't start with cum?
This is
We
sex
all started with
education.
cum.
He
If you
didn't
think about
mention
it.
cum
Hey.
at all in that episode.
What was that?
Obviously, well,
Oh.
Nick does this thing when he handshakes.
He
You
tries
ever
to
heard
go-
about
He
this?
tries to go for the deep one and
No,
then
no, no.
like, hit 2
What he
times.
does is he puts his finger out.
Oh, yeah.
Because he
Yeah.
says that if you put your pointer finger straight out, no one can out-muscle you. And he has
Yeah,
a
it's
big
true.
thing about not getting
It's true.
out-muscled in a
Shake my hand.
handshake.
Shake my hand.
No.
So if you ever shake his
well.
hand, do it. No, do it.
test it,
Shake his hand
test
to feel it. When you ever shake his hand, that finger will be out.
What the fuck?
He does it every
This is what
time.
we're seeing underneath.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And it's like he's
It
has
widens,
a mini gun.
it widens your grip, and you have the firmer handshake every time.
He's really big on that. I
What
don't know, I think
happens
it's
if both people go for that?
We haven't figured that out yet.
I just went
Science
for it,
hasn't
and,
gotten
and it's bad. It's like crossing streams,
Well,
right?
to be fair, this was in my way.
It's dividing
I
by
felt like-
0.
yeah.
People die.
I feel like that's a toxic, like, masculine thing that I wouldn't expect from you, because you're pretty, like, neutral and, like, you don't really fucking try to be like a you don't like work out. You're not
Okay.
like handsome.
Okay.
You're like
What else?
Low T.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
glasses.
I tested tea. I'm good.
what really?
Yeah.
How's your tea?
It's great. It's
White blood cell count?
It's like slightly above average.
What is like a T? Like I wouldn't even
What's the
know. Like
number?
if someone's
Like you know how like they have
5
like
tea?
you know that
how much T do you
I've
have?
got like 8 teas.
Do you have ATs?
Well, I don't know. You know like the 23andMe thing?
Yeah.
They have another one that's only testosterone. And I
T?
was having all these random
It's
health
called
problems.
Are You Pussy Boy?
Yeah. I was having all these random health problems, so I just went to the store and bought one, and I was like, all right, well, it's not that.
Yeah.
Oh, it was over the counter.
Yeah.
You didn't have a doctor look inside your.
Well, it went to
penis or
doctors
something.
somewhere.
Could be fake teeth.
I don't think it went to a guy who was like, I'll just look at this
No,
and
but
check
what
it.
it wasn't like a pregnancy test.
I'm sorry,
I mean,
hold up. What do you
I
think
put my DNA in a bottle and sent it to a lab.
You said look inside a penis. How do you think this works? You think when you cough and they touch your balls, they're like low T?
There's okay. The testosterone comes from the penis.
They hear the Friends theme song in your nutsack, and they're like, "This guy does not have it."
Everyone knows that.
Doesn't it come from the epididymis?
This is like when I try to explain on stream what a period was,
Doesn't
and
it?
I had like my 10% female viewer base just
They were
chew me
like,
out. I was like, you shed uterine lining? They're like, you fucking idiot. You dumbass. You low
Wait, is that
T
not what
little
it
bitch."
is?
Look, I don't want to get into it again.
Oh, no.
I don't want to get into it.
I don't think it's our place.
I don't know the women viewership of the yard. I'm sorry for look,
I
we're
know
trying
it.
to learn.
I know it. I found
You know
it
what
out.
periods are?
No, well, yes, I know. I know
Oh,
our
you know the women
viewership.
Boys, he's
viewership.
I
cracked
know
the
women
code.
viewership,
What's
yeah.
the women
Imagine
viewership?
I'm like, guys, I figured out the period thing.
That's what I thought he was talking about.
This is exciting.
It's like 9%.
Hey.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would love to get to double digit. A lot of clapping.
Wait,
Yeah.
9%
That's
what?
lower.
Women who listen to us.
Like
Oh, wow.
91% man, 9% women. That's
9%?
lower.
Well, people who identify, right? We don't know
Yeah.
if there's a certain
There was a
options.
non-binary section, but
Oh,
it
really?
was
Really?
it was below 1%.
I still like
It
that
might just be.
representation.
I-
It might.
yeah,
There
I
are
like-
literally social media
That doesn't
It's
platforms.
even
good that we
exist
at
on
least
YouTube.
have the breakdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's probably bad metrics.
On
So-
YouTube, I'm like 13, 15 women.
That's pretty.
And they don't have non-binary. It's just
I wonder what Hasan is
for breakdown.
for women.
I think it's like 80-20.
What the high? I wonder what the highest male
You go-
streamer.
you go check the demographic.
80%?
No, man, 80%.
You go
I
check
was
the
like, you're
demographic info. It's
smoking
like
weed.
men. It's like 46%. It's like women. It's like a list of phone numbers.
Yeah.
That's when Hasan looks at his YouTube page. Yeah,
It's his birthday today.
Is it really?
Happy birthday,
30.
Hasan.
He
He's
did
30.
turn 30.
Hey, clap again.
Yeah,
All
clap for Hassan.
right. This
He's gonna
is
fuck
get
so
old.
many women tonight.
Oh my god.
It's tonight.
It's tonight. It's his
Is-
birthday right
do
now.
they just like? Does he just airdrop like into fucking Twisted Towers in downtown LA, just with like 9 condoms, and he's like, all right.
No, he literally airdrops on his iPhone, just like want to fuck
right?
in downtown LA.
It's like, when,
Hasan
it's like when you
really-
have the emergency airdrop in Modern Warfare 2 and like 4 fucking whole care packages come down.
I don't know.
You know how I would get 1, he would get 4.
Yeah, yeah. He
Did
gets
we
a
ever
lot.
tell
of it.
him the story
What
of
story?
Hassan at the party?
No.
Wow. Okay, so we went to
What happened?
Austin, right? And there was like a pretty big party with all the streamers there, and me, Nick, and Eamon were there. Eamon got really drunk.
So drunk.
As always.
Aiden was so fucking drunk at this party.
Hold on.
That you were so fucking drunk at this party that I'm
dude, this is
I'm
funny.
standing there and this like girl comes up and she's like, "Oh, what's your name?" I'm like, "I'm Nick." She's like, "Oh, I'm Chandler. Nice to meet you." I'm like, "Great." And then Aiden comes over and he's like, "Hey." And she's like, "Hi, who are you?" And he's like, "I'm Aiden." She's like, "Oh, I'm Chandler." And he goes, "Oh, like from Friends." and she like rolls her eyes. She's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Cool." And then Aiden leaves. I shit you not. 5 minutes later, Aiden comes back and goes, "Oh, hey, what? Hi, I'm Aiden." And she also does not remember because she's also drunk. And she goes, "Oh, I'm Chandler." And he goes again. He goes like from Friends.
No.
Dude.
And I literally was like, "Am I in a simulation? What the fuck is
Nick's
going
the
on?"
sober guy, so he always notices his
Look.
stuff too. That's embarrassing.
I only remember it happening once.
I know.
Once is still too much, by the way. To be clear, to say that line.
Yeah.
That shouldn't
Yeah,
happen once.
to remember that happening, and to a little bit. So we had a meeting about the podcast today, like what we're gonna do for some different stuff, and I was like, we need to take notes. We never do. I'll be right back. And I grabbed my Apple MacBook and I come down and hand it to Aiden because he's the note taker guy because he's wearing those glasses, and he's like, "Oh, you got this." He has looked and commented on this laptop like 3 times in the past.
It's a new MacBook. It's
I've,
pink.
I've had it for like months.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, 1 month.
You've had it for a month.
I've had it for a month, and he is looking at it like he just saw it for the first time, and I'm like, I was so mad at him.
It's a nice laptop.
Even I know.
Because I'm like, what am I telling you that's more important than laptop shit that you're just like not even like, huh? And then just fucking go to sleep like an animal.
Yeah.
More important than laptop shit. Not that much. I'm remembering the important things.
I hope so, dude. Anyway,
Let's get
you're at
back
the
on
party.
topic.
We're back at the topic at the party in Austin, and Hassan's there, and it's only streamers right now, and like friends of streamers and stuff like that, right? Very closed bubble. Hassan is like, "I'm gonna invite these girls over." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I got this girl who's down to come. She's got a couple friends. They're gonna come over."
Is he saying it kind of smoky like you're saying it?
Yeah, he's saying it like he talks like that. Yeah, and he's like chewing nicotine gum while he's doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring these girls over. I'm like, "Are you like trying to like you gonna?" Woohoo.
This was shortly after him telling us his body count.
Yeah.
Which the answer again was
Question
no
marks.
fucking idea.
And so he's like, "Oh no, I'm probably not gonna fuck them unless they like look really good in person. I just want to see how they interact with the streamers and how the streamers interact with them."
What?
That's so
It
funny.
was like an
Yeah.
experiment. Yeah.
He was like, because basically he was saying that there's people like Soda Poppin', mizkif, me, even people who don't really interact with regular society and have become like characters of themselves.
Yeah, you're just basically like Dark Souls NPCs that
Yeah.
are wacky and kooky.
So he literally invites them over to hang out with all the streamers, and they come over and
Well, before they come over,
Yeah.
he goes. I remember we're in a circle, and he goes, I'm gonna tell them they have to send me their ID and Vax card to come." And he like messages it, and then it's like, "Do." Like they like immediate reply. He starts
Social
laughing.
Security, credit
he
card
starts
numbers.
laughing. He's like, "They just sent me their IDs
Yeah.
and vaccination cards."
yeah, like their government documents.
Yeah, I was just like, "Holy shit!"
So they come over, they start flocking around Hassan immediately, but Hassan like pretty much gives them like very little mind. Like he had kind of decided when they walked in, he's like, "Nah, I'm not gonna fuck them."
Yeah, yeah.
And so they mingle with all the streamers and have shitty interactions like the one with Aiden.
Okay,
Yeah.
for the record, I was a wonderful time at that party. I think
Aiden
so.
is a very wonderful drunk. He's very fun and he's
Very
just
loving.
very loving.
Yeah.
I was just a
Very
really.
affectionate.
That was towards the end of the evening when I'm very.
He just kept coming up to me and going, "I love this song." No matter.
I did.
Sometimes it was just the same song.
I did love that song.
Yeah, I believe you. Yeah.
I had a great time.
The story continues, kind of like the movie Superbad, where a lot of the nerdier streamer guys like Soda started a bet on who could kiss one of the girls.
Okay.
Because the Soda Poppin' has this theory that there's no point in having sex. I'll just jerk off and then I won't have to worry about it. And he's genuinely the most addicted jerker offer I've ever met and the most awkward guy. Yeah.
There's so much to unpack.
Yeah, this is a lot.
We're going to glaze past this because the
Also-
ending's the
yeah,
juicy part.
all right.
Also,
Blaze
the
past.
most wonderful person I met
Very
at that party.
sweet. Very
Yeah,
sweet.
Soda Poppin' and I had a wonderful conversation. at that
But
party.
also addicted to coming by his own hand.
Addicted. Yeah. He will literally say out loud,
Gets the best
he's
of
like,
us.
"I got to go home. I got to jerk off."
That's awesome.
Anyway, the party ends.
I like assertive
They
people.
all kind of fail to do it, right? But at the very end, as we literally exit the building, the girls are walking down the street, maybe half a block ahead. Soda has a spurt of courage, sprints down the street
He's
to
hammered.
these women, hammered as fuck.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Hey, This whole entire night, we had a bet going on, and I bet my friends that I could get a kiss from you guys. And I know this is crazy, but would one of you guys maybe want to kiss me?
That's the way to do it. Just totally up front.
They say no.
Oh my god,
In front of Hassan, all walk away.
dude.
Next day, the only person to hear from them, Hassan gets a text.
Of course.
Had a great time.
Yeah. Had a great time.
Interesting.
Here's
a
my
side,
social
a
security
side
number.
story for you.
Yeah.
A side story.
Please.
I got one of their numbers that night.
Wow.
It's
That's
true.
Right.
And
it's
then,
true.
and then
Nothing came from it.
She texted me back the next day, and then we never met up.
Amen. With
Then
your
she said she was coming to LA that week, and she was like, "Yeah, I'll be in LA on Thursday." And I was like, well, you know, it was nice to meet you. Get home safe," type of thing. She texted me back the next day, "Thank you, nice to meet you too." Never spoke again.
Did you not respond? You ghosted?
No, ball was in her court. She said, "Yeah, I'll text you." Like I said, like text me in LA if you want to hang out.
Oh,
That was
sure.
it.
he's
And
on
she
some,
never did.
he's on some that's not my job shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
What am I gonna do? I'm not gonna fucking like.
Text a girl? Ew.
Gross.
The outline was very clear.
Yeah.
It was
I
like,
mean,
hey,
and
if you
hey,
want to hang out on Thursday, we can.
you're pretty busy right now
Oh my.
with, you know,
What is he busy with?
he's really busy, dude. You know, he's mogul merch, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm really busy with that.
But also,
it's like really only that though.
the
Anything
amount,
else?
That's the only thing keeping me busy.
the amount of women he's currently speaking to
Oh.
in like a romantic, like, you know, pursuit conversation, you know, and that are, you know, reciprocating is actually pretty crazy. He told me,
What?
don't say how much on the podcast.
Really? You dog.
Do you guys remember that little
You dog.
that little
I know.
green cell phone that it didn't have a number pad, just had 5 buttons and they were all numbers? Do you remember that?
I'm thinking of the aliens
You
from
could
Toy
only
Story.
have I forgot what it was called. I think it was called a bug or something like that. It was
Okay.
a green cell phone. You could only call 5 people. That is
Sure.
Aiden's life right now, and they're
Yeah.
all women.
They're all women he's talking to.
No, I'm just like I just like getting to know people. I like just talking to people. I also it definitely fuels some sense of vanity, but in general, like I've always been very like open and upfront with people about like
That's true.
getting to know them and dating.
He does
and
love
stuff
talking
like
to
that.
people, so if you guys ever want to DM someone from the podcast.
No! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! They send me so many DMs, dude. I get so many.
There's
Dude,
one guy to reach out
Aiden-
to.
Okay, so I know we clown on Aiden a lot, but it's a lot of the time it's because he's such an effective communicator, and he's like very upfront and very communicative and very like actually very sensitive to people's like feelings and stuff like that. But sometimes like we make fun of him because he veers into this side of like he is just so direct. And again, sensitive, but just very direct. So this one time he was telling me he was at the old house, and he's in bed with a girl he's been seeing, and they're watching a movie on his laptop, and they're laying there. And,
Oh no!
and they're laying there, and Aiden has MacBook. This goddamn Apple podcast. He has a MacBook, and his messages come through to his computer, right, from his phone. And a message pops up, and it's like, "Hey, it's like Katie from from Hinge or whatever, Tinder. How's it going?" And Aiden, they're watching a movie, and this message pops up.
Yeah.
on a different day.
Because they're watching
on
it
a-
on that screen too.
yeah, they're literally in bed, and
And she's staying the night for like the first time.
and Aiden, this is what he's telling me, and he's telling me this, and I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
He's like, he stops the movie, and he's like, "Do you want to talk about that?" And I'm like, dude, that is. I mean, hats off, right? That's like a really difficult thing to say. But how did that go?
It was fine.
So he always says that.
Yeah.
He literally always says that.
I think like it went about as well as it could have. I think.
He would come back from the Middle East talking to the Palestinians and Israelis.
Yeah, so
Cool. How'd that go?
I talked to them and like
It was cool.
They definitely had a lot of valid concerns. But I probably won't go back.
Dude. Oh, my God.
No. I mean, because when something like that happens, I sort of like go through this like mental deliberation in my head of well, I can't not say anything, and will I feel if I don't confront this, like I know I will feel shitty about it later. Like if I just let something sit, it gives me. I feel really, really uncomfortable, and I feel really guilty when I don't follow my moral compass. So if I just let that sit, I will think about that for like days after until it's
Yeah,
resolved.
Aiden gets
So I
very
want
tortured at
I
the
want
idea
the
of hurting
immediate resolution of like us sorting through that. And we had like a long conversation about it that night, and I think it was fine. I sort of explained like my perspective and like side of like meeting people and getting to know them. And I think like she didn't necessarily agree. but because of that,
like, no.
hold on.
As he's just giggling.
Because of that, I actually stopped seeing other people until that ended.
That's true. Yeah.
So
That's good.
I'll never forget the time Aiden told me he like went on a Tinder date and he comes home and he's like, I was like, how was it? And he's like, yeah, it was good. It was like a decent day. You know, we had fun. We did this and that. And at the end, I kind of just told her that I probably wouldn't want to do this again. But
Yeah, dude.
but we could be friends.
What?
When he said-
And I was like, wow, really?
No,
you
'cause
just said that to her.
Wait, here's the thing.
Think
Really
about
quick, dear viewer, he literally is still friends with girls like this, and
That is
he'll
true.
go and hang out with them. He means it.
Yeah,
when
my-
he says we should be friends, he fucking means it, and I'm like, that's great.
The nice thing about this is, because of this, I think my only like non gamer-ish friends that I have in LA are people that I met on Hinge that I was like, yeah, this person's cool, but I don't really want to date them. And
He's
then we
about to
just
run
kept,
into 30-year-old problems.
and then we
though.
just kept hanging out.
He's going to run into the problem where he has too many people to hang out with. This has been happening a lot recently.
To be fair, he's
he
6 years
overbooks
away.
himself, right?
To who? Who is this
all the
happening
time.
to?
All the time. Yesterday.
Wait. You're saying a 30-year-old problem has it been happening to him?
Yes.
Okay.
In the sense that, like, when you're older, usually you have, like, too many obligations, people to hang out with, friends,
You
and you
don't
have to
have
blow
time.
off a lot of
Yeah.
stuff, and you're like,
Family.
ugh, I have to hang out.
When this happened to him yesterday,
Yeah.
it brought up a very interesting point in the car today where we were like, our problems start to make less and less sense the more normie the person is you
Oh
explain
my
them to.
God,
Because
bro.
Aiden missed his friend's birthday
Uh-huh.
for a Mario Kart tournament. And for us, we get it.
Did you tell them that?
Yes, I was honest with her because she knows about the event. So
And, like,
I was
for-
like, look, this is just scheduled the same
It's
night.
not my fault. So
I-
USA went into finals against Japan, and Japan delayed it an hour. So Japan was supposed to start at 8 p.m.
And there was a problem with the
So
file
saving
Funky
grace
Kong.
here-
There's a bagger,
The saving
okay?
grace.
There's a
The bagger. There's this guy. Okay, so he goes backward because the chance of getting the shock
there's
in
a bagger
10th is 20%,
So
and
they
the chance
played
of
Mario
getting the
Kart
9th is
Wii
7.5%.
instead of Mario Kart 8.
I love your name and impression.
The point with or the thing that made it easy with her is like she's not a normie. I would say she's not a normie.
She's a Mario Kart USA fan.
She's a
Mario
hybrid.
Kart.
She's a hybrid.
Yeah,
She works well in every normie crowd,
Yeah.
but is not a normie.
absolutely.
And most women
And so-
are because they have to be like right. They have to like live these dual identities, and usually guys can just be like 100% gamer, like Gollum, right?
Yeah,
To be
because I
clear,
feel
I'm
like
a normie.
you are like reprimanded
want to
in
be a normie.
within like women's social circles for being like really into something like gaming.
Yeah.
which is
There's
not
a classic
good.
phrase where it's like name something like women don't get made fun of for doing, right? And it's kind of makes sense. Like guys get made fun of too, but they just get a lot of shit. And yeah.
Yeah, it's not in the same way. I
No.
feel like it's
I think I'm a normie.
So you are because
You're not a normie.
before this you were glued to your phone. I was going to bring this up, watching the Olympics.
Yeah, I've been watching the
And
Olympics
I've
all
never
day.
gave a shit.
Ludwig
about
is
the
literally
Olympics.
like a guy who found out the Olympics existed today. Like earlier in the kitchen, he's on his phone. Yeah, I'm watching ping pong.
no. Okay. So we get home out of the car, right, and we're having this conversation about some of the business stuff to do with the podcast and like, well, what we're gonna do from here. And we're like, well, we need to talk to Ludwig about this today. Let's just like go home and like get this out of the way. He's probably not streaming yet. We can have that conversation. We come into the kitchen. You're on your phone, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm watching ping pong finals right now." And I'm like, "Well, oh, that's cool. Like, did you like finals already?" And he's like, "Yeah, well, it might not actually be finals." Like,
He had no idea.
I
He,
know.
he
just
had no
assumed-
clue.
He just
didn't know
assumed the
who was
stakes were
playing.
high, and
he
he's
didn't
gotta
know.
watch.
He didn't know what stage of the tournament it was.
Yeah.
And he's just like he's ready to blow off this meeting because he's like fucking mid ping pong match.
I started my stream 2 hours late because I was watching the triathlon the whole way through.
Were you really?
I watched all swimming, biking, and running.
Was it riveting?
It was riveting content.
Dude, Ludwig loves content. He just does. But he also so you're a normie because like back in like the Bad Melee days, we would make fun of you because you would like bring up the news.
Yeah.
You'd like want to talk about the news.
I love the news.
on
and it's
Bad
like-
Melee.
No, well, he said it. He would say it beforehand. We were all hanging out. He's like, "You guys hear about this like
I do
in
this
bracket
still.
thing in the news?" And we all looked at him like, "We're in a fucking house right now where like 3 dudes are sleeping on the ground. Like, we don't give a shit, brother.
I love the news.
It was weird.
I can, if you ever want during this pod a little news update, I'm fresh. I'm hot. I'm
Okay,
ready.
hit us right now. What's the news?
The U.S. men's basketball team lost a match for the first time since 2004 against
who?
France.
What?
They lost to France.
Oh, but they're not out of the tournament yet.
It's pools. It's pools.
Disgusting.
They're still fine, but that's pretty bad if you're losing to France. Who's probably
it's
not
crazy
because
the
I didn't know
US
they
basketball
make
lineup-
basketballs in France. I
They
didn't know
don't.
they had
Like,
them.
they actually don't.
it's just people who play handball and they transition them.
Yeah.
Oh, it's much bigger. This is easy.
That's racist. Stop though.
It's kind of like water polo, but like out of the water.
You think I can just run around?
Okay.
Pretty good at
But
it.
there are handles.
The U.S. basketball team gets like iced out on occasion, right? By the actual like good players we could put on the team.
They've
'Cause
literally not lost a game since 04.
sometimes the egos are like too big,
Sure.
and like the top players like won't even join the team.
Yeah.
But this year we actually have a pretty good
It's a
team in terms of the
star-studded
individual
lineup.
talent. Yeah,
Jason
and we're
Tatum,
still losing.
Kevin Durant.
We're still losing.
Yeah,
Damn,
yeah.
Jason Statham is on.
No, yeah,
US
he's
men's team?
goated.
Yeah.
His vertical is
He
crazy.
keeps just saying the interceptor and then saying, "Where's the rock?"
I'm on a transport. This fucking ball I am. Right near the fucking Sazwagon.
Yeah, no one else here watches the Olympics. They're riveting, dude.
No, it's fine.
I'm gonna
It's
be
just a
real.
few events, right?
I'm gonna be
I
real.
think a few events are really exciting.
I didn't even know it started. I would watch it if I knew that.
I'm a diehard
That's-
nationalist the moment the Olympics come up.
Hold on, that's the other problem with it. This year or the past 2 years or whatever has been such a shit show with the scheduling and moving it back. It's been like the Olympics has been in the news. This Tokyo Olympics has been in the news for like 4 straight years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't care anymore.
You know, they're also very litigious. They go, I mean, you see it with like streamers and stuff, but like once it's Olympic season, they are very, very litigious about like, don't use our fucking name, bro. We probably have to bleep it out.
Who?
Of the Olympics.
Oh,
I mean,
do you know what happened?
Olympics.
There was a live streamer who in Tokyo, IRL streamer, and he got banned, DMCA'd, taken down by the Olympics for filming the flyover in a park outside of the arena.
They don't fucking play. It's
what
crazy.
the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll get overturned. Likely it should, but they did take him down just for filming the flyover. And they run like triathlons in the streets of Tokyo. If you just happen to be like filming a guy
take a fucking
who's
picture, bro.
biking, they're like fucking 3 feds take him out.
Did you guys see the
bossing say.
the anti-sex beds that they tried to make?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the video? So there's this video of like 3 of the national team like
Sorry, one
athletes
second.
from
Anti-sex bed should have just had aim in there.
You can't make this joke after the conversation we just had 10 minutes ago.
I feel like you should have done it about maybe Nick.
Yeah, I
Well,
just
that's just also
Eamon has, he takes him better.
How can you make this joke both ways?
Hey.
That's the thing that's driving me insane.
Shut the fuck up.
What were you saying though?
So it's these 3 athletes from the Mexican Olympians, and they all like hug each other, and like 2 of them tried at first. They like wrap their arms around each other, and then they jump onto the bed. Nothing
doesn't
happens.
budge, yeah.
It just doesn't budge at all. And then 3 of them do it. Like they all like get in like a huddle, and then they all collectively jump really high, and then hit the bed, and it just takes it. So who is that? What was
no,
it
it's
for?
like an egg. It's like an egg because I saw the way it was, right? If you're like fucking, you're doing like a
You're
sort
saying
of
the forward
horizontal,
momentum,
motion, and that'll like tip it over. But if you're like right on top, it's
well, I
sturdy,
got to
bet.
imagine that they didn't like levitate over and fall down. Like they jumped forward. I feel like it should have
Also,
worked
Also,
the same way.
imagine 2 Olympians who have taken the feat that humans can do to the highest level, looking at a bed and being like, "We can't do it.
Yeah.
we can't figure out a way
Well,
around this."
if only you were like professional gymnastics and could like wrap your body around me while I stand straight up.
There's also a floor.
Yeah.
It's not crazy
floor.
to do that.
Yeah, the Japanese people will be like, "Oh,
could
we
also
actually
just
normally
stand.
sleep there."
Also, the floor is lava, so
Yeah, that. So
Tokyo organizers told us it's lava this year. So
dude, it's like it's funny because they try to prevent them from having sex because of it's like COVID, right?
Yeah.
But before that, it was like it's a thing. It's like a lot of really young people too, right? Like a lot of them are just they are athletes their entire young lives, and then they go and they're like brilliantly genetically
so fit.
perfect
Everyone's so
people,
fit.
and they're just like and they just fuck like rabbits.
I also have a theory about this, and it comes from an event in high school where if you're in any scenario where you're meeting people that you will never see again, the things you're willing to do are like just much crazier. And I remember this because I was in like this business club in high school where you competed in like little events and shit. There's like the local competition, and then you would go to state, and then there was the national competition. At the state competition, there's like this dance that happens on the weekend, right? And it's it's like not too nuts or anything.
It's called like the business dance.
It's called the National Nerd Convention.
Yeah,
for geeks and losers.
That's what they called it.
Dance, right underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah, dance. Yeah.
Yeah, that dance. And then we went to the national competition one year, and the I don't know. It's weird to talk about it now because everybody was in fucking high school, and it was very weird.
Sure.
But the amount of sexual activity between teenagers at the national dance was absolutely insane. And these people I had known for years who were like very like to themselves and like sort of goody in the environment of high school at home, like kind of went for a bunch of things they would never normally do.
Get a
like
little loose.
with random people.
Yeah.
And I think it's just that idea of like, well, I'm going to the Olympics. It's like, I know I'm the best sprinter from Canada and you're the best swimmer from China.
So
and
go
we'll
into
just,
door number 2.
yeah, we'll
Yeah.
just bang it out this weekend and I'll never
That'd be
talk to
sick.
you again.
You go
Like,
home to your boys, you're like, yeah, I just fucked the best arms shooter from Georgia.
She's like, oh fuck, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it is crazy. Band geeks like. I talked about this a lot when the Aiden Ross thing was going on with you.
Yeah.
Where it's like the joke is like, oh, this guy's fucking band geek. Like band geeks fucked the most. In
They
high
get
school.
down.
yeah.
They get
They
down.
get down.
that was such a weird, that's how you know, like they're all so young. It's like you never have heard of the band camp thing where they just all fuck.
They fuck a lot.
That's real shit, and it's funny because like that as an insult is basically saying. Also, I brought this up. This is when you guys were beefing in Austin, but I was like, they don't know that Ludwig was an improv kid, which is more embarrassing.
Yeah,
right.
they could just
Yeah.
bring that up.
I was a theater kid. I will say, on that note, when I was in high school, I went to a theater party, and I was in theater for one production. I didn't do theater most of it. I was a sports kid, so it was like weird that I did it. I transcended boundaries.
The lead in Legally Blonde.
I was the second lead. I was Warner, the doucher boyfriend.
Yeah,
instead of the nice one. But I go to this party with a bunch of theater kids, and it starts out innocent. We watch.
Who's on it anyway?
No, what's the
I would
musical
kill
with Neil
myself
Patrick
in real
Harris?
life.
The musical with Neil Patrick Harris.
Oh,
Dr. Horrible sing-along blog. We watched
The short
that.
one's
Very
45 minutes.
innocent, nerdy theater stuff. Then it ends. They started throwing music. They turn off the lights, and people start grinding. One kid starts grinding on his girlfriend at the time, comes himself.
He sperms
live
himself.
at the theater
spermed
party.
himself?
He cummed himself
Say
live
it.
at the party. He spermed himself.
Oh no!
And I was like, fuck yeah. So I jerk off in the corner trying to get involved too.
No, you didn't.
At the end of the party, everyone's jerking off in a different corner.
I'm touching pay-pays.
What? You didn't jerk off.
No, I did not jerk off, but that did happen.
How do you know he cummed his pants? Was he like, I came my pants? Like, dude, does it stain through his jeans? Like, there's no way.
I think it's like he did not. It's pretty obvious when you cum yourself.
Is it?
Yeah.
You know what, Ludwig? I can't say I know what it's like.
If
so I have
one
to
of us
believe you.
cummed ourselves on this podcast, I would know.
I'd be like,
Have you done this without? Have you
And then
done
I'm
this
fine.
not in your sleep before?
Have I cummed?
Just in your
Do
pants?
you think I only cum sleeping?
No, the whole thing in your pants. If
Really
you're
tough for
if you're
Cutie.
coming in your pants while you're not sleeping, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, I've cummed myself.
Wait, what's the context? Are you okay with
I was
saying
like
that?
16. Yeah, I was 16. I was like grinding with a girl, and I cummed myself.
No way.
Yeah, I cummed
This
myself.
has never happened to me, so I don't know.
It happened to me. It was
What?
embarrassing. I did it. I cummed myself.
Dude, all of Cutie.
I come myself.
I thought Cutie was just like making fun of like how long you lasted as like make fun of my
Okay,
boyfriend
no,
sort of.
well,
Yeah,
thing.
you're gonna air that out.
No,
Because
this
I do feel
Oh,
like,
sorry. Was it not aired out on the 60,000 viewer roast?
Look, I don't think we need to talk too much about my sex life, but I last a great few minutes.
Hey, you know
They're a
That's good
fantastic
enough.
few. It's like a vine.
Some, it's like those two twins, those guys. It's
Let's
a
just say
good vine.
TikTok extended to 3 minutes, and I won't make it through one of those.
Back in high school, me and my friends were all like hanging out, and someone was just like brought up the idea of like, oh, what's the funniest place you guys have like jacked off before? And we're going around the circle. It's like we have like this air that like wherever you've done it, no one's gonna judge you. We're all just gonna find it funny and laugh. And my friend friend's like, oh, like at a friend's house, like, oh, that guy, oh, we all know him. And then my other friend was like, Payless shoes, and we all like laughed, and we were like, what? And we're like,
on the airwalks?
that's crazy. But this guy's like still cool. We're like, whoa, that's fucking. No, I have to tell a story. Tell the story. And my third friend, he's like getting the courage because everyone's telling their story. He goes, oh yeah, okay, guys, all right. So this is a little embarrassing, but I once jacked off at a horse race. And everyone's like, what? And no one thought he was cool. Everyone roasted the fucking shit out of him.
Why a horse race? What? No, why did they not think that was cool?
Well, it was just so funny. It was easier to make fun of him.
Yeah, it's just the rhythm of conversation.
Yeah, and so we were
Can't
just
be too
like,
cool, people.
what? Like, so we were saying giddy up. We were saying all this shit to him.
Dude,
It was
all right,
bad.
my dad, if like to sort of inform everyone about who my dad is.
come into this?
You-
Speaking of jerking off in a horse show,
I'm telling you, this is going to be weird. So Aiden actually met my dad.
I met your dad.
You met my
I met
dad.
your dad.
No, Aiden's dad met my dad.
Can I explain how your dad is?
I wish any of you were there for my dad meeting his dad.
I
Anyway,
would have loved to have seen that.
Explain my dad.
So
from your
I met your
perspective.
dad when he came over to the old house, and you weren't there. And he's kind of like you because he like lies down and just watches TV, and he just seems like very like he just likes to get cozy,
like an animal, yeah.
and he's watching it, and then occasionally he'll just go into a giant story. Like something will set him off, and he'll be like, "Oh God, yeah, my family owned like we own like a gasoline station.
This is not that would never.
We would
happen.
get like scratchies, and it was fucking Tony the Pew, and he would pew in the streets every time we would walk out as kids. Oh God, and then like if you ask one question, it'll be like a quest line, and it'll start it like he'll go to a second section, or you can end the storyline right there, like character dialogue.
My favorite part about Anthony's dad is that like he'll lay down on the couch and like someone will be somewhere near him in the room, but not anywhere near to him and have a conversation. And he'll just be watching a movie and he'll be like, he's a shitty actor. Like,
Yeah.
but like,
what's this guy doing on the screen?
but like
This
someone is meant to like receive that message. So like Aiden will like take his headphones off, like, are you talking to me? And
Yeah.
he just like won't.
This
be.
is exactly what happened because in the old house where I sat downstairs was just at like one end of the room, kind of opposite to the living room,
Yeah.
but it's all one
It's
open
like
space,
10
even
feet
though there's
away,
a lot of
15 feet
distance,
away.
right?
Yeah.
So his dad would sit in the living room all day, and I would be on my computer, and then I have my headphones on, and then he did this all the time. It was crazy. He would just break into stories, and I started doing the autopilot. I just go, oh yeah. And like, oh yeah, that's
My
cool.
dad actually
That's
trained
interesting.
Eamon
Yeah.
to be the asshole he is now.
Elder Scrolls music plays when your dad talks.
Dude, my dad, he's so fucking annoying, and he's a cartoon character. Like, a little
Great
backstory-
stories.
Little backstory on my dad. He is like, he hasn't like paid. Actually, I shouldn't say that.
He's a bit of a Ludwig viewer, huh?
enough attention to me.
Yeah.
We'll
My
say
dad
that.
is
Aiden.
he gambles for a
Attention.
living in Las Vegas. He bets sports. He's been doing it for about 40 years.
So
He's very
hype.
old.
That is hype.
He lives like this very vagabond, weird lifestyle. He's like old. He's like an Italian guy, old as fuck, and he is a cartoon character. I have never actually like. Even when my mom died, we like barely connected. It was really he's just unable to do it, or he refuses. I don't know. But either way, he's a fucking. So he'll do that, but he'll do it to me and be like, "Oh, what's this guy doing on the screen? Ugh, I hate this guy." And it's like, "Are you talking to me? Stop it." And so the reason why I say this is my dad has stories, right? He talks about his life. He's been around for a long fucking time. One time, he tells me this story about the time he went to an orgy, and he said he was like 16 or 17. He like hated his parents, and he got and in the 70s. Apparently, you could do anything, and people like talked like idiots. My dad's what was it like his outlook on like women and asking them out or like whatever. He's like, you ask 100 girls out, 99 of them say no, one of them says yes.
Yeah.
He's like, and I'm like, I would tell him like, your game is so bad probably. Like, how did you ever pull girls? And that's what he told me.
Yeah.
Right? And
It's a numbers game.
Yeah, it's like it's a numbers game. And then, dude,
Still calls them broads.
I visited. I went with him.
Sweetheart.
Hey, sweetheart, come here.
sweetheart.
Come on.
I
Oh,
went
it's
with him to his
awful.
old hometown. It was a long time ago. We went up with one of his like old like high school friends, and he's like weird too. And he's like, "Oh, you and my old man, we were a couple of." And I'm like,
What?
And I'm like,
No
in my head,
way.
I'm like, who? I have never heard that word.
Dude, I've
That's
never,
a Dark Souls enemy.
Up until you told that story the first time, I've never heard that phrase.
And I'll say it now
ever.
when I'm trying to make you guys laugh. I'll pull out. and it's just like really crass.
It is
Dude,
so
it's
crass.
so dude,
Holy
it
shit.
cuts
It
so
is
hard. I do
jarring.
not like that at
It'll
all.
get this video demonetized, actually.
Yeah.
So my dad,
We will have to mute out that word.
my dad. He tells me this story. This was a long time. He's like, I tell you, I went to an orgy, and I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, so I was like 18, and I flew out to California because I knew a guy out there who like played jazz. He's actually really good at the piano, which is also weird. And he's like, I played jazz. I hang out with the jazz guys.
By the way, that's also what Anthony would do every day, or Anthony's dad would do every day while he stayed at our house, is he would sit all day, watch TV, and then about every 2 hours, he would play piano
And
for
then
like 30
read a
minutes.
book for 30 minutes and then
and then go back to
TV.
the TV.
And all the while wishing he was gambling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just a man of culture all around.
And so he's like, I went to California and I met up with these guys and they took me to this like mansion. It's like this rich people's mansion. And I figure out it's an orgy and everyone's like taking their clothes off and they start having sex. And I'm like 16, right? And so I start, I take off my clothes and he's so crass, dude. He's like, and I start pulling my pud in the corner.
No way.
He said this. He's like, I start pulling my pud.
He's like the lyrics of a Primus song.
Dude,
Pulling my pud.
Pulling my pud.
I've never heard that
I've never
word.
heard pud in my
And
life.
he's like, and I go up to this, this
call him
woman,
Bud every day.
and she's like naked, and I'm like, hey, and he's like talking about himself, and he's being a prick. And he's like, hey, could you possibly perhaps like suck my dick?
Could you pleasure my pud?
And she goes, no. And he's like, and so I didn't have sex with anybody, and I just ended up just leaving, and I went home.
He jerked off in the corner at an
Yeah.
orgy? That was the story he told you?
And that's when you said that, it all come flooding back, like Slumdog Millionaire. But,
My
jerked off
pud.
in the corner at an orgy.
dude,
Just
and-
like
I went
Ludwig,
to an orgy and all I got was jerking off my own pud. What the fuck? You know what I mean?
just like Ludwig at 16 at his theater party.
I love my dad because he's my father, but I also
Yeah.
fucking hate.
He's a
that
pleasure
guy
to meet,
sometimes.
I think.
Yeah, but it's fun when it's like someone you don't have to deal with.
Oh, sure, yeah. If I woke up and had to live with him daily, it'd be different. That'd be a different interaction. It'd be very constant.
I can't get over tugging on my pud.
I was pulling my pud, and I was like,
The pudcast.
One time it was at Thanksgiving. I visited him. He always stays at his friend's place for Thanksgiving. That are like that he knows because he never has his own place or whatever. And I was like, Dad, one day you're gonna die, and I'm never gonna know who you actually are. And it was crazy because I'm driving my car, and he kind of like look out the window. He's like, I'll tell you one day. And I was like,
He
holy
just tells
shit.
you the orgy story again.
All right.
And that was the closest I ever got to like having a real conversation with him. And so yeah, that's my dad. I'm sure I'll remember more shit as the months roll on.
We did do a disservice last episode.
What happened?
And I'm on the pulse of the yard community.
The news.
The yard news.
The yard news. People were irate that you never told your Republican girl story.
Dude, okay. All right.
People were mad because we talked about it. And what did Tisa go? Hey, is that story where you had sex with that Republican?
Yeah, and then we just roll
And then we just roll by it. Yeah, we skipped it.
And if I can set the stage a little bit, I'm not going to spoil anything.
Please.
But this is in the era where Anthony lived and slept in my closet.
Yeah.
Because it was in between jobs, and rather than just find a new place to stay, he's like, well, I'll just sleep in your
You're
closet.
not laying it thick enough. It has become a personality trait for him
I cite it every
to
time.
talk about how he lived in a closet.
I cite it whenever the chips are down and I need to say what I've been
I'm glad
through.
we started collectively pushing back on this, by the way.
It's annoying because we'll be like, oh shit, they don't have like, they just don't have like the right tonkatsu ramen today. I'd be like, I slept in a closet.
I wasn't
I don't care.
I walked uphill
I
both
don't
ways.
care. It's
Got
literally like that.
socks for Christmas.
But then,
Closet guy also wants to move into the biggest
he'll
room
move
right
into
now.
the big bedroom.
Yeah.
He'll move into the big bedroom
Funny.
and be like,
Funny
yeah,
how that works.
yeah, whatever.
And you know what? That story was a different me, and the new me is different too.
But you still bring it up like
you
you're
still
both
bring it up
people.
like that's you.
Yeah, because sometimes when you go to war, you don't forget.
Okay.
That's his valor.
To be
he
fair,
slept-
he isn't exaggerating, by the way, because I never got to see it in person, but I
Oh,
saw the
the
photos,
closet's bad.
and it's like a pantry closet, and the floor was filled. Every inch
like
of
my
the floor
stuff.
is filled
There-
by the bed and Anthony's stuff,
There's-
and then he just sleeps between
It was
like
like
shelves.
like a pad.
That's the awesome part. There's this beautiful photo that exists.
Oh,
of
exactly,
of our
perfect.
friend Mike tucking his dick and ball in between his legs, and he's got a hell of a bush. And he's standing out like a Greek statue in front of the closet while Anthony is just sleeping on like a floor mat in a
That's
closet.
pretty hype.
Tell you what,
I gotta see that.
If we
I'll
ever
censor it.
if we ever launch the Patreon, that'll be the first thing
post.
Yeah.
that you see.
As long as
Trump
Mike's
us.
cool with it.
And we do have to ask Mike.
We have to cut in. Mike.
But yes, to
Mike
paint a
gets a
picture,
cut.
he slept in a closet. The closet had to stay open for him to sleep in it because the bed was too long for the
And
size
there was
of it.
also a large obstacle in his dating life because all he had was a closet when it came to where he slept.
If you wanted to bring a girl back, it would be like literally the most embarrassing interaction ever.
all right,
Yeah,
get in this
like,
closet so
you
I can
can't
have
do
sex with you.
Yeah.
Right. So when
Here's your stay.
and at the time I was dating, right? I was on dating apps. I don't drink. I haven't drank or did drugs in a long time. And so basically like bars and shit like that, I don't like going to them. It's not for me. So like dating apps are pretty much my only way to
They're
meet
broken
people.
for you.
It's just not broken. Like I didn't slay like I was.
I can attest to this. I also don't drink. They suck.
Dating apps?
No,
Oh,
bars
bars.
and shit.
That's
They're
what I'm
just
saying. It's
never
like,
a good time.
I feel like it's a new, like, that avenue would be kind of, it'd be much harder to date without dating
Yeah,
apps.
it was great. I mean, it was
Yeah.
a way for me to like meet people and date. And so I was in a bit of a pickle, right? I living in this closet for $200 a month, which is great.
Great deal.
I live with all my buds. I have a new cool job at Beyond the Summit, right? This is all great for me.
27, mind you.
Years old?
28, I think. 27, 28.
I was
No, 27.
8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
It's 3
no
years
way.
ago.
It's 3 years ago.
No, I was 27 and then 28. Yeah.
he's
But either
27.
way, so what, dude?
No, I think it adds context.
How old are you?
I'm 26 right now.
Cap.
What do you what? I'm not saying this. I'm more so saying like
Oh, you're just
because
giving
it's
context,
different
yeah.
when you're 19 bringing a girl back to a closet.
Yeah.
than 28.
Well, that's the
That
thing.
is different.
Yeah,
That is true.
I
A
also,
28-year-old
actually is-
woman
yeah,
is a
yeah.
lot different to bring back to
I also
a
would
closet.
never. So what I did was that, when I would meet girls and we'd go on dates and we'd have good times or whatever, or we'd like click, I would have to. Basically, I would tell the truth. I was like, listen, I sleep at my friend's house in like a small room.
I would tell the truth. I would tell the truth.
Interesting. Closet guy disappears when it matters most.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna tell the truth to her. You know,
Oh, that's
Yeah,
I've got a studio. I've got a
I'm sure
studio
when
I
at the
live
movies,
in.
closet guy when it's convenient.
I doubt Slime without the movies and they get popcorn. There's no butter. He goes, "It's all right. I sleep in a closet."
My place actually is a walk-in closet. It's a really nice place.
Yeah, a lot of storage.
So I matched with this girl on Tinder, and she was like 25 or something. She's
2017.
pretty.
Trump's in the White House.
Trump is in the White House, and she's pretty cute, and I'm like, okay, cool. And so we end up meeting at this boba place, and we sit down, and we start like having a conversation the way you do. And like Eamon had said before on the podcast, I'm a great date. I'm very fun, and I make joke and connect and all that stuff. And so okay.
The first thing was wrong was when she said, "You're real, like Jordan Peterson."
And then she walked in the boba shop and said, "I love this Oriental spot."
Yeah, no,
You got the best zingers,
Well,
like Ben Shapiro.
you joke, but like, so here was the first red flag. We started talking and stuff, and then this is around the time like Moana came out, and I remember we were just talking about movies, and I was like, "Oh, I saw Moana." I was like, "Actually, I didn't really like it," because that's true. I thought it was like not the best, whatever animated movie.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, "Yeah, you know what? Me neither." I had a
Finally, someone says it.
She dead ass says this. She's like, I didn't like how everyone made so much of a big deal how they were and she's searching for the words.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And she lands on colored.
Oh,
dude.
And I'm like, I mean, yeah, like I think that it's it's still a good thing.
What
that,
word does she
Dude,
normally find there? Where she doesn't
so this
interrupt
is
her
what
own
I was
thoughts,
thinking, right? When he told me this the first time, I was like, dude, if that's the word that she searched for and got to,
What did she
then where
skip
was she
over?
at before?
dude, I know.
N-word version 2, N-word version 3.
I know. And so already I'm like, holy shit, this person sucks, right? But she's really pretty. And I'm like,
and it's been a while.
and it's
The
been
person
a
who dated
while.
Adolf Hitler. I know,
Ava
guys.
Braun was just like,
No, this
he's
is like
so
the-
like he's so cool.
This
though,
is like
in
the
person.
when Gal Gadot thing from earlier today. It's like Gal Gadot is so attractive, but then you have to wrestle with this like.
no, we don't. You do.
That's not our cross to bear.
I'm
That's
putting-
She's your
now I'm
celebrity
putting it
pass,
on
not
you.
ours.
Yeah.
She's your Israeli
yeah,
army
and then
queen.
I found out she was in the Israeli army, and I'm like, fuck. As if there was like this chance before, but
You were locked and cocked.
Usually
Red flag one.
when I ask Aiden about like hypotheticals with like women, it's like, okay, what if she looked like Gal Gadot but like she had this personality trait? And he'd be like, oh, I'd give her like 3 dates, because that's like his standard for like who he thinks is very beautiful until we found out that she was.
Yeah, he was stipulating that I
criminal.
would continue dating Gal Gadot because she's so beautiful, even if she was boring. And I was like, no.
Yeah, Gal. I mean, I had a really good time on the first date, but the whole Israeli thing it's a little much for me.
I just feel like
I
that.
can't. It doesn't sit well with me, and I think it's best if we go our separate ways.
But I'd love to stay friends.
I'd love to still smash.
So okay.
Red flag number one.
Red flag number
Moana.
one, we're in this boba shop, and
Yeah.
it's like, fine, okay. And so other than that, she seems really interested in me, and I'm like, okay, sure. And I want to make it clear, I don't have any intention of like being in a relationship with this person already.
Yeah.
Because like I would never be in a relationship with someone who like searched to find a word to describe someone who is not white and landed on that one. Right?
Who's also Hawaiian.
Right, like what the fuck? What is she? I cannot believe it.
It's Hawaiian.
Dude, so okay, and so she's like, we're really like, she's really excited to like be with me, and she's like, do you want to get some food? And I'm like, oh sure, because we're just drinking boba. And she's like, do you want to go to Denny's? I like Denny's. Like,
Surprised she didn't say like Hooters or something. Buffalo
what?
Wild Wings. You want to go Buffalo Wild Wings?
Denny's is
you know
terrible.
B-dubs? I know the guy there with the tattoo of the flag on his chest. And
I get a great deal on wings.
yeah, and so
I fucked the bartender.
So we're like, I'm like, yeah, sure. She's like, yeah, I know the Denny's near here. So we both drove, and then so
That's sick. She knew one.
we both drive to the Denny's, and so dude, we go in, and we get a table, and it's the Denny's, and she's sitting down, and our waiter is an Asian guy. He's Asian American, and he's like, and I'm already like, oh fuck me, man.
Oh,
And she's like,
The boss music starts to play. Dun,
she's like
dun,
gripping her
dun,
fork
dun.
and knife really aggressively.
she apparently comes to this Denny's a lot, and when the guy serves, like puts drinks down, and gives us gets our drinks and walks away, she's like, that guy's always in here, and he's so rude to me. He's so rude, and she won't like stop talking about how this particular server is just really mean
At her regular Denny's that she goes to all the time.
Yeah, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, probably, dude. Like,
Yeah, I'll have the Grand Slamwich American cheese.
dude.
Take the cheddar out of it. I want American cheese.
And then every time he comes by, he's like, she's very short with him.
Yeah.
And he's like really
Dude,
nice.
I hate people like that.
I know.
Hate,
She's
dude,
like
if you're
the
mean to
worst.
servers, it's so.
And the guy's fine,
Yeah.
and I'm like, and I'm paying, so I make sure to tip him well, and like, not show her, right? It's like, yeah, you know, big tip.
Tipped him 0.
But-
this cringe lord.
So we're at Denny's, and we're still like, talking, and by this point, I'm really checked out. Like, this is before Adderall for me, which I take, as prescribed now. But like, by this point, she's like really boring. She's racist, probably, and I'm just like, I am so kind of just like checked out. And whenever she's talking, I'm just like, and I don't have any energy or brightness at all. And so she's like, she's still having a very good time, and she's like, what are you doing tonight? And I'm like, oh, I'm not sure. What do you like?
I'm going to a Bernie rally.
And I'm about to tee up and say, my room is so tiny, because it's looking like it's going toward that direction where we're gonna, like go to someone's place or something. And she's like, oh, well, I live with my dad, so like, I don't think we could.
Because he'll kill you and shoot you with a gun.
Her dad was a cop. I forgot that
Oh.
part. I forgot, but that comes into play later.
Sure.
She spawns from
Dude,
cops.
holy shit. Oh my god, there's still so much more to this. So we go, and she's like, we go out to Denny's. She's like, what I haven't gone to in a while is a drive-in. And there's a drive-in where, near where we are. And I was like, yeah, me neither. I was like 5 years old. I saw the Batman movie where he had the nipple. And it's striking me now where she kind of took me to a place that was very Americana, right? She took me to Denny's, and then she took me to a drive-in.
Yeah.
Like she was very attracted to this idea of like an American good
This
time.
is like the Republican Midsummer.
But
She's like, here, drink this
But
Pabst.
I went to a boba shop, and that's like, for her, I bet she was like, fuck this. Dude, I remember
Did she order
now.
Coke?
We went, and she was like, she didn't like the things they had, and she made a point to like say that, and I'm like, now I get it.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that. So, all right.
Can I just get an American coffee?
Do you guys have Bang or or maybe a Truly?
Bud Light, please. No, I don't want the little balls in there. Yeah, so she fucking, it's crazy. And so we go to the drive-in, and it's the only movie that's playing right now is Jumanji with Dwayne the Jock Ronson.
Right.
And, he's not a white guy, so I'm surprised she wanted to see that movie.
He's also in Moana.
He is.
He's also
Yeah.
in
That's
that
poetic,
movie.
isn't it?
They're like halfway through the movie, and she's like, "He's fine. He's fine." I like it.
Yeah, dude. So we
He's one of the good actors.
so we watch. So we go in her car, and she's done this before, right? She's gone to drive-ins before. She like backs up, she like opens the trunk and like gets it so it's cozy, and we
Moves over her Colt 45.
and we're watching this fucking Jumanji movie, and we're cozy, and then I just I make a move. And so it's there was like another car, and that was the only other car in the drive-in, and we have sex in the drive-in during the movie.
Was that weird? Were you not close to another car, or were you not like?
No, it was pretty far down.
Okay.
But I also calculated that, and I was like, you know what? If they just get like she seems okay.
Did you have a condom?
She did.
She opened the glove
She
box
had
to
one.
find a condom.
She seems like
She's
she's
done
done
this
this date
before.
many
Yeah.
times.
She opens the glove box for a condom and goes through like baseball cards and like a Bible.
Yeah, and like a Ronald McDonald like toy. Like,
I wish we could have the Denny's waiter as a guest to say how many times he's seen her with like a different boy,
right?
and then like outside heard like, let's go to the drive-thru.
How many times does someone run the Republican gauntlet for that?
Dude, and how many have failed?
So you
how many let their morals get the best of them?
You go down and slam
So
at
we
the park,
at the
drive-thru.
at the drive-in, my favorite post-hardcore band, and we
Great band.
we have sex, and and we finish up and we watch the movie, and it's fine, and we end up like packing up, and it seems fine, and so we're driving back, dude, and here's where it gets really weird. So she's taking me back to the Denny's, and it's a bit of a drive from the Denny's to the
Wait,
drive-in.
why did she take me to the Denny's?
Because my car was there.
Okay.
Because we took her
I'm
car.
hungry again.
Yeah. She's like, and if that guy's there, I swear to God. And so, fucking go back to Denny's, and while on the way, we're on like the 10, and it's really late, and she starts fucking, dude. I thought I was gonna die. She's driving like she had just got her car. And she's like, I love having like a new car. It means I can just like abuse it, right? I can speed.
Right. So true.
And we're still talking, and shit. And she starts bringing up like the police and like police, how dangerous their job is.
Yeah.
And this is where I start giving some static, where I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I think that their job might be hard, but I think they're in a position of power, and oftentimes, and this is before a lot of the cultural things that
before
happened.
George Floyd.
Yeah, like before
Yeah.
it became like the hottest thing to talk about.
Sure.
And I'm still like, yeah, I do think that there's a lot of problems with the way that we police things. And she starts getting really heated, and she's like, but it's just not fair. Like they just go, they get put through so much, and people, and they get killed and all this shit. I'm like, yeah, and I'm just like, I back up because I'm like, oh, whatever. But while we're having this conversation, she's doing like 95.
Oh my God.
And she's in.
She's like, so like you agree with me, right? She's like going faster. Like, well, I don't. She's like, you agree with me,
she's going
right?
really fast. And
She just
She's like, well, I'll go on cruise
it's
control.
like Fight Club, but Tyler Durden is like a racist Republican girl, and she starts. So someone on her right is deciding that they want to go fast too. And she's like, oh my God, I think he's trying to race me. And she keeps flooring it.
What a
So now we're going like 105. And I'm in the car, and at this point I'm like, I'm pretty much going through the idea of like, yeah, I might die today. This might happen. This is what happens. You go really fast and you make a mistake and you get incinerated. And I'm just like dealing.
Wake up in the Denny's.
I-
Get another chance.
but I'm not supposed to have sex with her.
Yeah.
Is God telling me?
Groundhog Day.
Yeah. and so and I don't say anything because part of me in this period of my life, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, right? Like, if this happens, it happens. I'm not going to.
that period of our lives.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give her this. I'm not gonna say that I'm scared because part of me feels like she wants me to.
I respect that.
You know, so I'm like, yeah, all right. And
What
finally,
are you afraid of guns, pussy liberal boy?
Dude.
Are you afraid of going fast?
And so this person like slows down. She slows down and she like goes to normal speed. We finally get off the highway, and I remember this very, very clearly in particular. And she gets off, and she's saying like, and she keeps talking to me about like, you know, society and like, you know, obviously she's like leaning toward these topics that want to be very like, you know, I want to take a side on this. And she's saying like, yeah, I think like gender roles too. Like, I'm the kind of girl who like, I really like when a man like takes charge, you know? And she was explaining this to me right after she started fucking like going 105. And I'm like, I bet that was like some sort of weird test for her. Like she wanted me to say, hey, you know, you got to slow down or something, right?
Sure.
I remember because we were coming off the exit and she said that it was a stoplight. And it was very like, it got burned in my memory. I'm like, that's so weird that this is happening. And she takes me back to Denny's. And you know, I have this, by the way, I want to say this whole date, I have been pushing back on a lot of the stuff she's saying in a very passive way where I'm like, yeah, I don't really think I agree. I think that this and this and this, you know, I'm not saying I think you're a bad person and you're wrong, which is what I felt, but I was just like being cordial, which is honestly like a pussy thing to do.
Sure.
Right?
You were
I think it's
retaining the
fine.
chance of hooking up later.
I also think in the
guess.
context of just like a random date where you have like no control over a lot of the factors, it's pretty fair.
Yeah,
But-
you're
but-
not
but
helping
the-
society if you just say "fuck you." You're
I don't know,
wrong.
but to this day, like I feel sort of like I should have just like left or like stood tall or something.
I was surprised how long you stayed.
I mean, because
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
she was very, very into me, right? And I was like, there's a big chance we'll have sex tonight, and that's something I want.
I do like how she's driving back at 105, going through Republican issues just to see if you're on her side for anything.
Bro, that's what it felt
But
like.
gun rights.
She was like heat
What about
checking
cops?
me. Yeah, dude, she kept bringing up cops, and
Yeah.
I found out her dad's a cop in that conversation in the
Right.
car.
Do you like my shirt? It's blue.
And I'm like,
You like this
and
color?
so we come back to the Denny's, but again, this time, so finally, she just straight up asks me. She's like, "What are your political like?"
That's so
Like,
funny.
what's your
'cause
like political belief?
Yeah.
And I was like, this is back when the word liberal to me meant, you know, right now I feel like that's not what it means. It is
there's
how
like
I
a
feel.
disdain for that word.
Liberal,
now.
yeah, there's a
Yeah.
disdain to it, and I agree with that disdain. But at the time I described, I was like, oh, I'd say I'm pretty like liberal guy, and or like pretty on the left side. And no, I was the one who said left side. I remember this because she said, oh wow, yeah. I mean, I'm definitely like, you know, I'm more toward the right, and I'm like, yeah.
She's doing the thing. Like it sounds like she's doing the thing through the whole date, where she's sort of doing the like soft, you know, line cast to see if you give her any ground, so she can like really get
And
into
I
it,
never
you know?
did, right?
Yeah.
Every time she'd like basically heat check me on that, I'd be like, well, no, I don't really agree. I think that there's this side to it, and that's, you know, what and so, but she says this really interesting thing where she's like, oh yeah, well, you know, it's really interesting. I don't think I've ever dated anyone who's, you know, like liberal.
A pussy.
she has to go through more words again.
Yeah, colored, and I'm like, well. And so she does all this, and she said that, implying that she's really interested in seeing me again.
She's ready to
she'll
finally
try it.
date
and
a
what I
liberal.
said was like, I was like, yeah, you know, I think that,
I can change him.
and I don't do the Aiden thing because that freaks me out. But
You want to test drive trucks later?
I was definitely like, yeah. I mean, I think that, you know, issues are meant to be talked about, and I like seeing people for, you know, the person. In my head, I'm like, I would like to have sex with her again, but that is pretty much as I'm going to do. And so and that's how the conversation ends. We have a kiss goodnight, and I drive home, and I go to the closet, and like an animal, and I go to sleep. and so I get to work the next day, and I'm like, I'm gonna tell people at work about this because it's really funny.
Yeah.
And so I tell Nick, I tell my boss, and I'm getting kind of like roasted for it, for like, and it's like, and all this shit, and I'm like, yeah, and so, but here's the thing, I still want to like do the, what do you call it? We had also matched on Snapchat, or not matched, but she gave me her Snapchat too when we were talking on Tinder, and yeah, I remember it was Tinder now. because I would see her on Bumble like a couple weeks later, and her shit said no liberals.
What?
I should have said that at the end, but the way
I can see her account. She's wearing a cowboy hat and boots. She's at Coachella with her friends.
she didn't.
No
I'm gonna pull
liberals.
this
She didn't like
That's
dress like a goddamn like hillbilly, but
Sure.
you know, you could once you get the download, you can see it in their eyes. You know what I mean? That they're ready to
Dude,
fight about
this
this.
reminds
never
me of something
met
I saw.
someone whose personality is so much
Dude,
intertwined with their political beliefs.
Really?
I guess
Maybe in college?
in dating.
Sure, yeah. I mean,
I've met people like that.
Family Guy, some would argue, is a political belief, Ludwig.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Yeah.
And so the way this ends
Like
is
this
that,
one time in Family Guy.
the way this ends is that I message her the next day, and you know, you just basically you say, hey, I am thinking about you, and I see you, right? Like I am.
You do the
interested in-
follow-up, the
I do
follow-up.
the follow up, and I said something that was like, sorry to whoever was in this meeting, but I was like, I'm in a meeting right now, and it's so boring. And how's your day going? And she just doesn't respond. And I'm like, huh, okay. And then she just doesn't respond. And then I think I sent another at night, no response. And I'm like, huh, okay, that's kind of weird. Just give whatever. And then I wait the next day, and she I remember because I had an iPhone, she had a non-iPhone because there were green messages, so I couldn't see if they were delivered. But then I crack open Tinder again because it's and she's unmatched me.
Wow.
And I'm like,
Oh,
huh,
shit,
okay.
man.
And
What
then
changed?
And then I checked my Snapchat.
Ooh, you're gone?
She deleted me.
Oh, shit.
Sheesh.
And then I just don't message her at all again. And that's it. I never spoke to her.
Because she went home.
I never spoke to her ever
You
again.
went out with the liberal boy?
Dude, and that was that.
Maybe she was trying to protect you from her father.
Yeah.
He was on your case.
Oh, I swear.
I found it. So this is a dating profile from like the beginning of this year, and I thought this was an insane bio.
Okay.
Like it blew my mind because this person is just I don't know, looking. I feel like looking at them, they're just like really pretty, and I've never seen a profile like this in my life.
Yeah.
The first thing it says, I get along best with people who are dorks like me. If you watched Filthy Frank growing up, I will probably love you, LOL. That's my kind of humor. That's the
Holy
first
shit.
part. And then the second part is, you should not go out with me if you don't like kids. I'm a mom, if you couldn't tell. If
Wait,
you watched
what?
anime dubbed, or if you're a liberal.
That
remember you
is
showed me
crazy.
that. Yeah.
How does that person exist?
And I was like, this is such a crossover
A
of...
mother who watches anime subbed who
Grew
hates
up
liberals.
on Filthy Frank.
Huge
I would
Filthy
not
Frank
call
fan.
old YouTube. Like, she grew up on it. It's not old YouTube. Old,
No,
old
she's
YouTube
pretty
is,
young. She's
Old
pretty
YouTube is
young
like
to be a
Charles
parent,
Trippy.
I would say.
Yeah.
And like
it's decently old.
Shay
It's-
Carl.
For nowadays, it's considered old, I'd say.
I was in high school
That's a
when
It's
Filthy
It's
Frank
like that
came out.
meme of the
dude.
3 different Jokers where it's like Ancient Gamer and it's like Halo 3, Modern Warfare 2.
Dude, it was like some absurd bingo card
Yeah.
of things
Yeah.
that just happened to be on her profile.
And there are probably hundreds, if not thousands, of people who are also like that. And you got to find Eamon. Just DM Eamon again on Twitter.
Yep, DM
He'll give
him,
you their info.
and he will.
At Aiden Calvin, if you want to DM him, if there was any confusion.
And thank you very much.
Don't DM me.
Once again, shout outs to Coinbase, our sponsor of the podcast 2 weeks in a row. That's huge. You guys can all download Coinbase on the App Store. It's pretty much just the main thing I use when I'm copping some crypto.
I'd like to DM them. You know what I'd say?
What?
Coinbase. Thanks, Coinbase, for sponsoring the podcast.
That's what I would say too, actually. It's funny you say that.
But yeah, they're a sponsor of the podcast. At this point, pretty much the best way you can support them is just literally get Coinbase. Let them know in any social. You can follow them. You can just be like, yeah,
Hey.
the yard brought me here.
And let him know the yard sent you.
Let them know
Wait,
the yard sent you.
know, and you're probably wondering where his fucking cowboy hat came from. That's actually a something to do with that. So you'll see
We have a
that.
Coinbase
Easter
shoot
egg.
coming.
Yeah.
Coming
You'll
up.
see it soon. You'll
A
see it soon.
script I
You'll see
wrote.
that mogul money.
And I directed again. Me and Christopher Nolan, both two titans of the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So me and Chris know? Yeah.
I call him C baby.
C baby. Me and C baby.
Don't do that. You don't call him.
You wouldn't
Who?
call him that.
You don't call him at all.
You wouldn't call him that.
Who?
Christopher Nolan.
Oh, I don't call
Sorry, C baby.
C baby.
See, baby.
I just don't hear the other word.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, there you go, guys. That's that saga of my life.
I am impressed by the number of people that just were down to have sex in your car.
his car was probably nicer than where we lived at the time.
Yeah.
In
Surely.
a lot of ways. Because I think something that we've never spoken about on this is the piss and shit house that
They're
we
not
used to
ready
live
for that
in.
yet.
You don't think
no,
they're
this is-
ready?
They're not
I
ready
actually
for the
like
piss
this.
and
So
shit
this is
house.
is this the worst place you've ever lived? What's the worst place everybody has ever
It's the
lived?
worst
mean,
living
worst-
conditions. It was a
wait,
fine
wait,
house.
Wait.
Like worst conditions.
Did you think it was the worst place you've ever lived?
Worst conditions,
By far.
not by friendship.
By far.
I loved it there.
Okay. I didn't. I
Give
loved
me the
it there
room.
too.
Give me the room.
I
Don't let
love
him do this to me.
Yeah.
Do you hear him?
I can't.
Give me the room.
You gotta stop. You gotta
Here's the thing.
stop
Here's
flexing.
the
can't
thing.
keep getting
Here's the
away
thing.
with
Here's the
this.
thing. I loved like the memories and the friends, but it was a dog shit place. It was hell.
Yeah.
Hell.
It was hell.
It was hell. I would
We
sleep
didn't
over
have
there.
water.
Yeah, so I would sleep over. I would
Sometimes
sleep
you
over to
didn't
hang
have
out,
water.
and there's no water you could drink. There's no cups even. So if you wanted to like drink out of the tap, wasn't even possible.
Well, there was also sometimes the water itself would get shut off, so you couldn't like wash your hands.
We had a day
And
where we had
sometimes
like
it would be
9
dark-colored.
people in the house at once. We were housing people for like a Smash tournament, and I'll never forget this. Miles comes up to me, our friend from Australia, and he was staying with us at the time. He comes up and he goes, "Hey, the wall is hot." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "The wall, like I'm touching it, and like it feels hot." And I'm like, "What does that mean?" I'm like, I'm like, "Oh, that's fun. I don't know. It's like hot in the house." He's like, "No, like really hot. Like it's burning my hand." And I'm like, "Oh shit!" And I go over and I'm like looking at the wall. I'm like, "Looks normal to me." Touch it, it's like scalding hot. And I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" And then I put my ear up to it. Like I don't touch it, but I put my ear up to it, and I just hear, shh. And I'm like, "What's in there?" And there's just a hot water valve that burst and is just emptying into our home. So I'm like,
Was that above the sink?
Fuck, it's on the staircase that goes up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
where the
right,
water
because there's that
heater
big
is.
hole forever.
So I'm like, oh fuck, our house is gonna flood. Oh shit. So I call like the water company. I'm like, please shut off our water, or our house is gonna flood. They shut it off. And then our fucking landlord, who lived in China and never responded to emails, I email him like incessantly over and over again. And I'm like, our water doesn't work. Please do something about this, because like we need it fixed. And he finally replies, and he's like, yeah, so the water's just gonna be off for a while, and I'm gonna send someone out to fix it. So we had 3 days where 9 people were in the same home with no water. That's no showers, no flushing toilets. The only way to flush a toilet was to carry a bucket of water upstairs and put it in the back tank.
Yeah, life hack, by the way, if you didn't know that.
Yeah,
you can,
that is true.
You can manually flush a toilet. Yeah.
You do just need water.
With external
to put
water.
in.
Also in this house, during the same period, the downstairs toilet was broken.
Whole time.
And we wrote almost the entire time we lived there.
Yeah, I have no. Yeah.
Because someone broke the chain that pulls the plunger up and flushes the toilet. So no matter
Pretty
what,
easy fix.
pretty easy fix. All of us were
No
lazy,
one ever did it.
and we wrote a sign that sat above the toilet that said, "Do not shit or piss in this toilet. It does not work." But the amount of people who would come through this home high off their ass. I'll tell the story of one man named Yosemite Dabs. That was his gamer tag, who once came through and took 9 dabs in our living room.
Well, let's be clear. Also, this house was like a trap house.
It
dude.
was like a trap house. Yeah,
The
absolutely.
garage
It really
was
was.
literally called the daboratory.
I remember,
Yeah.
Miles, they like he like we were driving somebody home and they're like, "Oh, I gotta take a shower before my flight." He's like, "Just shower in the trap."
Yeah. So this is
You say it like
the
that.
condition.
Side question: have you hit a dab before?
I think I did there.
Really?
Possibly, yeah.
And a lot of people
Yeah, I
have
never
their first
did.
time. Yeah.
But to
never
be
did.
very clear, I did it. I always do it in a very reserved baby boy way, where I don't put it in the throat and cough for 8 minutes straight. I just put it in my mouth and go, pff, and I go, that was great.
Oh, that dab was crazy,
Yeah.
guys. I'm
And then
high.
I don't care to be performatively high.
There
or
would
actually high.
There would
anyway.
just constantly be people like Yosemite Dabs who would go into our guest bathroom and then just shit in it.
Yeah.
And then come out and be like,
Wait.
so the toilet in there isn't flushing.
Yeah.
What do I do? And now I'm like, is this my fucking job? Who's gonna do this shit? And often it became my job to fix the toilet.
One of the times I went over there was with one of the best Luigi players in Arizona, and he was underage and he drank a lot, and then it was one of his first times I think drinking that much, and he just threw up everywhere on the floor. And Nick, again, he doesn't drink, he never drinks, and so he's always the sober guy, and everyone just gets it's fucked up. It's a trap house, basically. Everyone's either high or drunk, and Nick's sober every time. So he just like comes out and he's like a sim, and he's like, oh, what am I doing? Oh,
Dude, yeah.
And this is
Oh
off,
my God.
some extra context. This is off the back of like I'm very pissed off because we had just deep cleaned the entire house for the one time of year we actually do that.
Yeah.
And then it was like it's like in the movies when it's like all clean, and then a fucking bull comes in the house and kicks everything over.
It's like Mother. It's
Yes,
like,
yes. I was
and Nick is Jennifer Lawrence.
I was Jennifer Lawrence and Mother, and I'm just like, guys, let's just keep everything clean. They're like, yeah, we got it. I turn around, turn back, and they're fucking pissing on the wall and shitting
don't
everywhere.
Sit on that. Don't sit on the sink.
Yeah, and then I look over and they're just back sitting on the sink. It was literally like
There
that.
were like parties, like every other week, or just even like smash gatherings.
It was
all the
okay.
time.
It was
Smash
Smash
gatherings.
Fest.
There was a lot of traffic.
But there was a lot of people who just like lived in the area who like played Smash, but their friends didn't, and they would invite them, and there would just be
Dude, some of those guys, bro.
some of those guys. Oh, I'll never fucking forget Roy because he'll never watch this. I'll never fucking forget Roy. And it was crazy because I was like, hey, there's a character in this video game we're playing that's your name, and he was like, whoa, dude, that's crazy. At some point,
Tell him what Roy kept saying.
I'm sitting on this couch next to Roy. Roy does not play Super Smash Brothers, but everyone around him does. So he's sitting there, baked out of his fucking mind, just watching us play, telling miscellaneous stories that are all terrible. I can't remember to this day what exactly he said, but he made some sort of joke that was like homoerotic, some like homoerotic joke, and then he goes, oh, but I'm not gay, guys. He's looking around and I'm like just playing Melee. I'm not even listening to his story. I'm like, oh, that's fine, like even if you are, I don't care, whatever. He's like, I'm not and he's like tapping my leg. He's like, I swear, dude, I swear
I'm not, bro. I'm not.
I'm like,
he sounds like Kyle Mooney.
Yes, he's literally like every Kyle character, and I'm like, dude, if you are, I don't mind.
What?
Serious.
Me, dude?
I'm like,
oh, dude, I've never.
and at the time,
Bro, I've never sucked any dick.
at the time, there's like a gay person, like and a bisexual person who both live there. I'm like, dude, like a lot of our friends here are gay. We don't care. It's
Like, please stop telling
and
me.
he's like, oh no, man, I'm not gay, man. Like literally, like Kyle. It was
Dude,
crazy.
you put everyone in line. I'm the straightest.
Dude, I don't even like hot dogs, dude.
I can't even eat popsicles without fucking because it's so gay.
Dude,
That guy
Can I
sucked.
tell you about the bathroom that you can't shit or piss in? Can I tell you something about it?
What do you want to tell me?
So Miles slept downstairs. He would piss in the sink.
Oh yeah, I did too.
Downstairs?
Like a urinal.
I did too.
oh, in the bathroom.
Yeah.
That's a strat.
In the-
yeah,
I would piss in the
respect
sink
that.
too.
Oh, that's
It was
so
like it was a
gross.
urinal, and once Miles told me that, I just stopped washing my hands in there because it was always really hot.
Dude, that bathroom was so fucking cursed because one, everyone pissed in the sink.
No light.
No light.
Yeah.
Okay, so the only light was a window with no cover. So if anyone was outside, they just see you in there.
Did you see you?
People were pissing in the sink. And
house
then
is
at
terrible.
some point, Nieper got a fucking cat, or was it Noel? Someone got a cat. I don't remember.
Both of them got
And
cats.
they put the litter box in this bathroom, so it always smelled like either cat shit or human shit, depending on what had happened in there the past hour.
So I will say I had a very spiritual connection to that house because for one, when we that's what the Australians say, I'm gonna take a slash.
Yeah.
And so we'd slash outside.
Peeing in the yard.
And so we would walk outside. This is where like the yard comes from, is that specific yard.
That's the house
Wait,
that birthed the name of this podcast.
Absolutely, it did. But
Yeah.
I think it was the Arizona guys who coined it.
Oh, maybe, sure. Well, the yard
was.
of like a place where you go and throw down.
No, I meant
by the way,
slashing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it was Ben.
Oh, yeah. The Arizona guys they're really funny, and they've come up with a lot of things that we've just stolen and beaten into the ground.
Yeah.
So shouts out. But so I would go out there and we would just piss on the grass from this stone like slab, you know, where like the porch.
We
or
brought it up
whatever.
before. There's a visual on the Twitter.
Yeah,
of me
Oh
pissing
yeah,
there.
that's the yard. And so, but it was funny because the grass doesn't grow very well when you do that.
No. And
No.
there were patches in the backyard where there was just dead grass because of all the adult men who would piss out there.
It was like just filled with piss.
When I went to Mizkif's house, he has this thing where he likes peeing from the balcony. And I was there on the balcony with him, and he's like, hey, Lud, come over here. And I stand up and I walk over, and it's not the balcony, it's small. So I was like, I'm not coming over very far. And he's like, it's really fun to piss down here. You want to piss?
Can people see him from there?
You could see him from anywhere in the house. Yeah.
No, from like the street or something.
No.
Okay.
And so we both piss out there, and I look down. He's like, yeah, the grass is all dead from that. And I'm like, all right.
Small related confession. I've done that more than once off our balcony.
Yeah.
Really?
Peeing is pretty fun when it falls a farther
Yeah,
distance.
it goes so far.
Well, there's a podcast I used to listen to. By the way, inspiration for any podcast I ever did is called the Film Drunk Frotcast. It's been around for a long time. Also, one of the members ended up dying of cancer. Shoutouts to Ben. May he rest in peace. But it was really, really funny. And I remember that podcast, they had talked about a time where someone had sat on a dock that was overhanging some water and it was very high up. And they basically had to take a shit, and so it was the nighttime in the moonlight, and they hung their ass off this dock and they took a shit, right?
Yeah.
And the time in between the poop leaving their butthole and hitting the water was like, it was like breathing the manna of the earth, right? The most beautiful Zen experience you could ever have. And I thought that, I always think about that. Real quick, the yard at that place, a lot of piss. What else was
The fruit throwing? Is that what you're trying to think
No,
of?
it was it was just about more piss and more shit. I forgot. Yeah, that place was crazy, man.
The bathroom stuff reminded me because my worst living situation in terms of hygiene was probably the apartment I lived in the year after I moved out of the dorm. So it was 7 of us in a 4-bedroom apartment that was probably like 1,200 square feet. I want to say so.
That's
It's
pretty fucking
it's really
tiny.
How many
compact.
people?
Very
We're
tiny.
7.
Oh,
We're doubling
very
up in
tiny.
rooms.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I had the smallest room. I was the only one who had a
Is
solo
this your
room.
Europe place? Is that your Europe thing?
Europe thing?
Oh,
The Germans and the
No.
guy-
Okay.
This is a
BDSM
lease I had.
You lived
This is
there
when
for
I lived
a
in
year.
Seattle.
Shit
I lived
on
here
the
in a
floor,
full
eat
year.
the shit,
Oh my
eat the
gosh.
shit,
Yeah.
eat the shit. He's a
It
German
was
guy.
called the apartments are called Pacific Sunrise. We
Right.
just called it Pac Sun. And
Oh, I love their jeans.
Yeah.
shit.
That's a different thing, just so you know.
yeah, I
He
do.
doesn't know. He's
I
Canadian.
learned that later, actually.
Store.
I didn't know that at the time.
Store.
And we would have. I think the thing for people who don't know or aren't like deep in the Smash community, this is a common thing with Smasher houses.
Yeah.
Is they become extremely degenerate, similar to like a frat, but with like less machismo. And
It's just that no one can afford to pay full rent anywhere.
Yeah.
And everyone likes playing
They're
And
Melee.
so
everybody only likes playing Melee. They don't clean their dishes.
Yeah.
They smoke a lot of weed.
Yep.
And this carried over to my living arrangements where even only like part of the people were smashers. And we would have friends who lived in the same complex just kind of like walk in and out of our apartment freely. And then we'd have one of our roommates like would have a friend over all the time. A different roommate had his girlfriend over all the time. So in this apartment, there's usually 9 to 11 people.
Jesus
Just
Christ.
all the time.
How many
And this
bedrooms
place-
was it?
4.
Dude, I bet there's like a capacity, a weight capacity in that building,
Yeah.
and you were over it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this place is becoming increasingly disgusting. And we're on the top floor of this apartment building, and there's one other apartment across from us that and we're the only 2 on the top floor. And we'd host these parties with the girls in the apartment across from us because we became friends with them, and we called it the penthouse party because it was just the top of the building. And this is a super compact space, split even with 2 apartments, right? And we would invite a lot of people over. And we did this like a few times. And after one of them, someone had like destroyed one of the bathrooms. They had vomited all over the floor. And this is everywhere. Didn't
Tough.
bother to clean it up, right? And we didn't know about it that evening. And then the next bathroom over, there's only 2. Someone has shattered some glass object in the room so that the entire floor of the bathroom is covered in big shards of glass.
Die Hard.
My
Just like Die
roommate, Utah, he wakes up first.
Wait, is that like
Wait, his name is Utah?
He's Japanese. And his name is like YUTA.
Oh,
okay.
oh, that's so different.
Yeah, I
So
thought
not
it was
like the state.
A fucking Point
You
Break
you
reference.
say it. No, you say it like the state, but it's
My friend's Utah and War Child.
so he
Yeah, me,
wakes
Utah,
up first
John
that
Deere,
morning,
we all hanging out.
and he's really got to pee, right?
Yeah.
He goes to one bathroom, covered in vomit.
And it's the Joker standing in front of both doors going like, if you pick one door, shit will come to you. But the other you will be spiked for life.
He like opens it, he's like, ah, runs out the hall.
Exactly. No, he goes to the other
Yeah.
bathroom. It's covered in glass, and he's like, Jesus fuck, man. Like I have to make the hardest choice of my life. I have to either like walk over the vomit or walk on
I
the
go
vomit
glass for
or
sure.
walk
I go
on the glass.
Yeah, I go glass.
Yeah.
And to take his piss because Lord knows he's not going to clean it up. And he makes his choice. But that would be a recurring theme across like all the
Which
parties
one did he
people had
pick?
hosted.
What did he pick?
I actually don't even remember.
Wow.
Can you get
I
into
don't
contact
remember.
with him and ask?
Yeah, absolutely.
Find out for us.
And we're still like pretty good friends. We like keep up like every few months. And this would happen across all of our parties from there on. Like we would have people over. Like I remember one night, our friend Nolan passed out, and in the morning we discovered, and he couldn't remember this, that he wrote a cryptic message in the mirror because you know how mirrors like fog up and you can write something in it?
God.
He wrote his friend, my roommate Ben was like his closest friend in the house, and he had written in his blackout state, "Help me, Ben," in the mirror. And then like a different time we woke up in a future house after a party, and somebody had covered the entire wall and shower of a bathroom with shaving cream. And then just decided to leave it like that. So there would always be these like
Good
little
cleaning
things with
solution.
our bathroom over the years.
Yeah.
I'm gonna close out the house we were talking about because it's just it's so related to what you said on the notion of broken glass on the floor.
Oh, thank God, because I would have brought it
Oh,
up.
So I won't name any names, but we had a friend who would come over to that house who was just high all the time, just so fucking high all the time. And one time in the daboratory, which was our garage where they would do dabs.
Dude, there was so much trash and debris in that garage.
The daboratory
filled
was
with
just
shit.
a garage where people who had lived in this home and then moved out and never cared to come get their garbage left it. But there was just like generations of that.
Dude, there were like
Yeah.
fishing poles and
There was, like, yeah.
Xbox 360.
There's like
It was
couches.
crazy.
There's like couches that like no one knows whose couch it was first, but they would use it to smoke weed on. And at some point, this very high man's that we knew goes into the daboratory, is smoking a bong up next to our washing machine, drops it, and shatters the entire bong on the garage floor.
Yeah.
This is a place where people often are walking barefoot to smoke weed. And so he, like a normal person, looks down at the bong and goes, "Oh shit, that's a problem." Looks around at his immediate surroundings. It's like he has fog and he can only see 3 feet around him.
He's low food right now.
And he's like, he's low food. Like,
Yeah.
it's like he's like losing health in Minecraft.
Yeah.
And then he looks over. He's like, blanket. And he grabs a towel, like a beach towel, and then he lays it over the glass. All the shattered shards of glass from an entire
happened.
bong with bong water. He just puts it over and then goes, "Okay," and then walks back into the house and plays Melee.
and didn't tell anyone.
Doesn't tell a soul that this happened.
So my introduction to this person, I have never met this person.
Who is this? I forget right now. Tell the name. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
super, super sweet. So dumb sometimes.
Yeah, just so high.
I really, side note, he drove me home from a tournament once, and he has this thing where if he's talking, he just keeps going faster in the car. Like he, he literally he can't do two things at once. So when he's speaking, he just keeps accelerating and going and going. And when you're not talking to him, he watches his speed.
Right.
And so I had to tell him, "You need to stop talking to me because you're going 95 right now."
Yeah.
That happened.
So my introduction to him, having not known any of these stories at the time, is when at the beginning of 2019, I went to Sydney. And I'm hanging out with our friend Miles and Josh, another friend of ours. And they are the two Australians who, up until that point, had visited and stayed in SoCal
In
with
this
them
house.
before, in that house
Yeah.
that they've been talking about. And they have this like funny thing that they're losing it over. Anything that is said over the course of the weekend, they're just both like, "Oh, for sure, dude, for sure, for sure, dude." And they're just like, why do you keep fucking saying that? Because they will not stop. It's like constant throughout the weekend. And they're like, "All right, so there's this guy in SoCal Melee who was constantly baked. Like he was high all the fucking time. And that's all he would say."
Yep.
And they would
Same
just
guy.
impersonate him all the time. And that's the first thing I ever heard. And then when I told Nick about this, like a year later after I moved in, he's like, "Oh yeah, that lines up. Let me tell you more stories about him." And it all has to do with him being baked out of his fucking mind.
And that guy
That's how it all starts.
beat the Crimson Blur in tournament.
Uh-huh.
It's true. That
true
actually-
His
story.
name? Zane Nagami.
Real quick, do you remember when we had that wheelchair in the house and then someone brought like a girl over and then we had this idea to like
Oh my god!
so
God, you know who brought this girl over? Roy.
No way.
Yes.
Whoa, shit. So,
Yes.
so Roy brings the girl over.
Not gay, by the way. Roy is not gay.
I told you guys I'm not gay, dude.
Hey, look,
Look,
shaking her.
dude.
Look, dude.
Look, slaps her tit.
Dude, he brings this person over who had never met any of us at all. And Nick at the time, it's like me, I think our friend Noel and Nick, who's sitting in the wheelchair that we have in the house. I forgot why we have it.
It was okay. I don't remember why we had it, but
You had it because Miles hurt his toe.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Miles
yes.
broke
Yes.
his toe,
Broke his toe
and we had to
and
get
used
a
a
wheelchair.
wheelchair.
Yeah,
It
but
was
but
bad.
it literally,
Dude, oh my God.
in Smash houses, you just need chairs. You need so many of them because so many people come over.
So people will use the wheelchair as a chair.
They would just use it to sit down.
Yeah. And Miles didn't need it at this time. Anyway, Nick's just sitting in it, like, just rolling around. And this person comes over, and we all start having a conversation. And then I text to Nick. I'm like, bro, I bet she thinks that you can't walk.
Yeah, because I was just sitting it the whole time, and no one was thinking about this.
And I was like, we should do a thing where you, like, stand up miraculously.
No. Okay, it's almost the same. But he goes, you should stand up and run out of the room.
No. Well, I brainstormed. I was like, one of them, I was like, he should stand up miraculously and be like, oh my God. And then, like, see her reaction. And then we landed because you had to go. You had to, like, leave that night.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're like on our phones, like, trying to figure out, like, the funniest way to do this.
in conversation.
So
Yeah, while
fucked
talking
up.
and just, like, hanging out. And dude, what ended up happening? It was actually insane. Oh, yeah, like, okay, so here's the plan. He's going to fucking. We're gonna say something. I forget what like the trigger phrase was. He's gonna say something, and then Nick is just gonna stand up and sprint out of the house, out the door,
Get in my car and leave.
and just like up the road.
Yeah. When Roy says I'm not gay, activate
For the
plan.
10th time.
So fucking finally, the trigger phrase is uttered, and Nick does it. He just, in the middle of nothing, he gets up. It's a huge ruckus, and he flies out the door. He, like, bangs the door shut. He gets in his car. We hear him drive, like just drive away. And she is not phased at all. It was,
She's like this. She goes,
yeah.
dude, it goes right back.
She just, like, kind of was like, huh, that's weird. Because it was weird because he was so, crazy and moved really fast. But it was... it was the most anticlimactic thing, but I thought at the moment, I was like, this is the most brilliant prank we could ever
Yeah.
It did not pan out.
No,
like it did in the YouTube videos.
she just didn't care, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for all future things we talk about this place, like these are the types of people who are coming through.
Yeah, man.
Dude, there's just so many. It's funny how similar stories there are with places like this. Like, there's all these like smash houses that have become these halfway houses for just like random people to just stop through and kind of like be degenerates in. Like, and you know what's really funny is if you delve into like regional lore of Smash communities, they all have like versions of these houses.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
in Washington,
This
it's
is
like
everywhere.
There's a
Puck House.
million stories.
SoCal also had like the balcony.
Dude.
Oh my god.
And there's just like so many versions of these stories. And everybody has these like the Roy of their like community, like some guy who was just there that day. And
What about you? Did you ever, you're from, nice little New Hampshire Bears.
there's Poop House.
New Hampshire, I just live with my mom.
Yeah, did she get crazy or wild or what? Is she
Yeah.
a huge pussy.
So we dabbed a bit, like, for sure.
No, we'd wait for Ludwig to leave.
Your mom and your sister are just like, hey, kiddo.
Yeah.
What, you have a nightmare?
Big time smoking with my mom.
I flew up.
I threw up.
Do you, so Ludwig came home the other day and he has this like little glass, like crystal vial. And he walks up to me in the office where all our computers are. And he's like, hey, these are weed gummies. Don't eat these because I don't do drugs or drink anymore. And if
But
I
he
did
does steal people's food
it'd
constantly.
be really and it'd be really bad. And I like eating food that I see.
Yeah.
Like an animal.
I got a special jar just for edibles so you don't eat
Yeah.
them.
But he keeps
You're
it on
like
his
a
desk.
Gauntlet Legends character looking for health.
Need food.
And so, but it was funny because I was like, thanks for the heads up.
Yeah.
Is that
I
going to be a
got you.
thing now? You just going to eat gummies now?
I eat gummies occasionally,
Dude.
like
You
once
You
a
gonna eat
week.
them more?
Hi,
Dude,
Ludwig
once
is
a
so
week?
funny.
Ludwig
Once every 2 weeks.
Ludwig off a gummy.
Yeah.
Actually, my best friend. If I had to choose a best friend in the
You're
world,
so
I'm
sweet.
sweet.
it's
You're
Ludwig.
so sweet when you're off.
Ludwig off the gummy is number one. For
I
sure.
hate smoking anything. I think inhaling anything's bad. But I think getting high off a gummy.
All he wants to do is
yeah.
ask you questions, and he wants ice cream, and he says it that
does
way.
love
I
ice
literally
cream.
am the Peepo emo. I'm like the I for up guy, but I'm like ice
You know
cream.
what's a cute thing he does sometimes when he's going to bed and we're talk for a while? He'll be like, "Love you, Eamon."
I've never, by the way, because I don't hang out a lot.
No.
'Cause I hate playing.
That's all I do. I watch movies and I eat food. I get
Yeah,
that's
Slime
it.
has this thing about
it's
planned group activities. He
Yeah.
doesn't like them.
I'm trying to be better about it.
You're getting better.
Get overwhelmed.
Yeah, we
But-
had a big conversation about this before the 100 Thieves party. You're like, "Yeah, I'm trying to get out. Like, I'm trying to.
Yeah,
I'm
trying to do
break
stuff.
This. Yeah.
Trying to hang out.
But your what was the gummy thing that you did? Oh yeah, when during the subathon, we talked about this at the subathon too. But when you had your break, what you ended up doing was eating gummies and watching me stream.
That's not true.
Okay, so what's true then?
What's true is we had a movie night, so we watched a movie together, and then after the movie ended, I just pulled up my stream to see how it was going, and you were playing Streamer Simulator.
Yeah.
And
Great content.
We watched it for like a few minutes.
I was providing great content.
It was great content. I tried to switch because I was like, oh, I've been watching my own stream on like my time with Cutie. Cutie goes, oh no, wait until because you were trying to get to the point where you could actually stream.
It was hard.
And you didn't get there yet, so we waited for that. We watched for like 30 minutes because of that.
So you spent your time with your beautiful girlfriend.
Yes.
Eating gummies and watching Slimonder from
That's right.
downstairs.
That's right, baby. Big gear change.
Yeah.
Something happened in this past week. I don't think we've talked about it much, but did you see the shit I got into with Aiden Ross?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was insane.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Some context.
Dare I ask which time? Like, how many?
I'll give you the rundown. So basically, I got into like the slight Twitter conversation with Los Pollos TV. Like, not very seen by many people. It was like a few hundred likes for each tweet. And it went back and forth like 10 times in a row.
only saw it because the yard follows 4 people,
Yeah.
us, and I logged into the account and it just brought you up. I didn't even see it on my own account.
Not many people saw it, but it happened. We just had a conversation about it, and it wasn't like the most fucking aggressive thing ever, but it certainly was like we
You
were
guys
kind of taking
disagreed?
shots. We
Yeah.
disagreed, yeah. And I talked about it a bit on stream as well, because I was just giving my thoughts because that was the big gamble day on Twitch. After that, like an hour later, he gets swatted live. And
Los Pollos.
Los
or
Pollos
Aiden Ross?
And as he gets swatted, Aiden Ross, I think, had his stream pulled up or pulls up his stream. And the first words out of his mouth, he goes, man, it had to be one of those poggers guys. Looks at Chad, goes, oh yeah, Ludwig.
Dude.
Right after the guy gets swatted, I get 1,000 viewer bump. Thanks, Aiden. Appreciate that. Been hard times in subathon. Everyone saying, bro, you swatted him. Your viewer swatted him. And just nonstop. To the point where even Los Pollos TV DM'd me and he apologized. And I was like, well, you don't have to
That's
apologize. Yeah, you didn't do it. Like, you are the last guy to ever have to apologize. But I will say I DM'd him, Aiden Ross. You know, because I did on the first time we ever had any beef ever.
Yeah.
I also DM'd him, but he ignored it and posted it on
Yeah,
Twitter.
Yeah,
and then
he-
people roasted him.
Yeah. But I DM'd him again because that's how I like to handle things, and he apologized.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
He doesn't. I'm sure, like, especially the way he said it. It doesn't sound like he's doing something intentionally malicious, for sure, right?
No, but it
if
is so malicious.
He seems.
Yeah, but it just
It's
is.
not intentional, but it is so malicious.
Well,
Ignorantly.
malicious implies intent, so
Yeah,
it's more.
so it's
just
not
ignorance.
malicious.
Okay, sure. I just wanted to bring it up because I thought it was the craziest thing that's happened to me in the past week.
Yeah, that's pretty. It fucking sucks. It's really stressful. You
Yeah.
know? So it's like, I'm glad he apologized.
It's coming out
That's
more
nice.
because viewers don't recognize like how prevalent swatting is among streamers.
Yeah, it's
they think it's
insane.
like one-offs, but like especially in the past couple of years, like every big streamer has a story that they don't want to talk about because it just like gives swatting
It's also
validation.
it's the job of the streamer to keep it as like low key as possible.
Yeah.
So it's
I thought that your Twitter thread, so like Ludwig is generally very like relaxed and like doesn't start beef. He doesn't have any. I don't think you have a single person you like hate.
No.
You actually don't hate people.
But
hated
I
people.
felt like that thread, you were like the most feisty you've like ever been online. I felt like you you do that.
Yeah,
So,
why? That
do-
is a good question. I was like, I don't really get why that's your hill.
in real life, you do that when you think the other person is being unreasonable. You get angry.
I thought he was being unreasonable. I
Yeah.
thought I had laid out like a decent argument, and then the counter was you open Pokemon cards, and I was like, what are we doing? What is
for the
happening?
record, your tweet, one of your tweets that I read in that thread was like unreadable.
No, it was one part of a 10-tweet thing that Slime had pointed out that didn't make a lot of sense,
I was bringing
admittedly.
up his communication issues
but-
again, and I was like, look at this. This is a word salad. And you're like, oh, that's just a reply. I just rip replies.
I do rip them.
And I'm like,
I don't like sitting on stuff.
I'm like, all right.
But didn't you take a while to write that?
me
Wasn't that
and
the
Mike
whole
watched
thing?
him.
No, that was like 4 tweets in. This is 4 tweets in.
Yeah. It wasn't a reply. It was a reply, but he was like making sure he was getting his shit right. So me and Mike were just watching him kind of like compose a tweet.
Anyway,
It was
I like when
funny.
Ludwig gets feisty.
So there's
Very
a
rarely.
feistiness. Now I remember how it started is you tweeted at Train,
Yeah.
and what made you want to do that?
Well, because I didn't want to be on the podcast thing, but I just wanted to like.
You
I didn't want to go live and then because all that people were talking about to like this week on Twitch was like gambling. What's wrong with gambling? Yada yada. H3H3 sparked a lot of it. He feels like he's an instigator a lot of that stuff too. And I didn't want to go live and do that. I didn't want to be like, here's
you don't
my
wanna
take,
drama
guys.
out. Yeah.
I'm the next guy. What did Ja Rule say? What did Ludwig say? But I wanted to weigh in, so I also we're mutual, so I know he'll see it.
Sure. Interesting. Okay.
I mean, sometimes someone says some of the wackest shit online you have ever seen in your life, and it takes everything in your power not to log on. And
Yeah.
I think this time it was out of your power. You had to say something.
It's also just I think a tweet is much lower stakes and less seen, especially when it's a direct at, than like quote retweeting or going live and talking about it, which is much bigger.
Can I ask you the meta, right? Someone had talked about the meta. I think it was Train himself. He was like, people delete tweets all the time because they tweet going live and then they delete it so their numbers are better all the time. And I remember
I delete all my go live tweets.
That's what I'm saying, because we did that for Smash Summit when we casted it. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm going to delete this. And I was like, why? Because I didn't know you did that. Is that a normal thing?
I think it's a normal thing. Well, not only is it bad for numbers, it's also bad because you're not live anymore. And if someone just logs on
shit.
Twitter,
For me, I see it.
You know why he's doing this?
Why?
Because I did this. I did this when I went live the other week for like an hour. I made my tweet because I just want people to know that I'm live, and
Yeah.
I want them to be able to click the link and then be on a
It'd be
live stream.
super stupid
and then
to have a
he
link and
gave
then
me
it not be
shit
there.
for deleting my tweet.
no, you should delete it. You should delete it.
Well,
I just hit 1 million followers this week. I think I know a little bit about Twitter.
Congratulations.
No,
I
should
think we
delete
need
the
to.
tweet.
He had 1 million fucking followers.
I did hit 1 million. fucking
Congratulations.
followers.
I don't
I'll clap
care.
with you.
I think it's cool.
I'll clap with.
Oh, I think
I'll
I
clap
mean
with
your Twitter feed is kind of like a wall, right? Like you don't want like if people are gonna scroll your
That's
feed
how I
and
think
look
of
at the
it, yeah.
things
That's
you
what
say,
I- yeah.
that's
Yeah.
filler. Just get rid of
I
it.
unretweet
It is
things.
filler.
The
The
only
every day
thing
I do
for
want
some
to retweet
reason.
things too.
Yeah.
I just when Eamon makes a decision about social media that is correct, I get mad because
Oh.
so many times he's incorrect in my eyes.
See, that's the thing is that I'm not
Don't take your
incorrect.
fucking glasses off. I'm not librarian.
You know what? I see what you mean.
Shit,
The
I
thing
need
is,
glasses.
you don't because you
Fuck.
actually need those.
Well, I can't see it.
Yeah, Eamon's right. Eamon's 100% right about this. Honestly, if
No,
you
I
ever
know.
want to know what to do on any social media platform, just look at what the Minecrafters do. 'cause they're
Aiden's gonna
killing it.
clip that. He's gonna clip that and go play with his pud later.
All right. Well, June 1st at 12:01 a.m. Have your gay pride tweet ready. All right. Have your BLM tweet ready. February 1st
Yeah.
at 12:01 and delete your tweets and unretweet stuff. And that's your basic guide.
Well,
Wait, you delete your tweets about social issues?
No, I'm saying delete the go live tweets.
Oh, right, because you just want to appear.
Well,
to
yeah,
the
July
world.
1st. So I mean,
Yeah,
fuck,
what?
they got
Are
a
you
month.
kidding me?
They get 1 month. That's it.
Yeah, God, it's such a fucked system, dude.
Yeah. I tweeted my thing on it, which was much more in depth. I tweeted like a whole. I don't know if you saw that.
About what?
I think you actually saw it, and you're like pussy.
Oh yeah, because it was actually really insightful and special, and then I flipped it around on you and was like,
You're like-
pussy.
Yeah, you're like hot pussy. But yeah, I hate farming because it's clouded to be like socially progressive. It's very clouded right
Yeah,
now.
and it sucks to be like, hey, I'm doing this for the likes. They call it virtue signaling,
yeah, I
which
was
is like
gonna
that's a kind of like a bastardized phrase because we always signal our virtue every time we say something. So it's like it doesn't really, but it's basically like being not genuine with your intentions when you like talk to a platform.
Yeah.
I think
that's
it's
fucking
a
whack.
fine line. I think I think it's very obvious when someone is virtue signaling in like the sense that people mean when they say it. But at the same time, you have to kind of weigh like outcome versus like what's actually happening. It's like, well, if they make this tweet and it does bring awareness, even if they're being like a total cunt, it's probably fine. You know, if more good happens than like what their intentions were to like farm whatever, it kind of doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Yeah, I get it. It's a weird spot because you can never judge people's intentions, and you have to like guess, and it's like fucking annoying because someone like fucking. I don't know. I'm not gonna say just someone who sucks.
Like if some
something.
big streamer tweets a donation link to a charity, and then behind the scenes you hear them go, "Yeah, fuck this charity. I don't care." Would you rather them delete the tweet?
Right. That's
No,
the question.
right? Like you
Yeah.
want it up.
I guess.
No, I
think
think socially progressive things being clouded is a net good. It just feels weird for me.
No,
to
it is
take
weird.
advantage of.
Because you
yeah.
It's good.
you don't want to benefit off of it in that way. I think I've thought about this a lot, and it's why I don't like tweet a lot about. I think the things I believe like socially or politically because
no
I
one will
think
see it. Sorry, I had to do one.
the action, and I think specifically the like monetary action behind it is like what matters more. And if you're down to fire off a bunch of tweets about it, I think you better be putting some money up occasionally. I think that's the way I look at it, especially if you can afford it.
Yeah,
and
I think
I
so
much
too.
rather like I don't tweet about it, and I started like giving money like where I could, and I think I'm much more comfortable with that because I don't feel like I'm like parading for like social validation. I feel like I'm actually pushing forward like some sort of solution. and
Yeah,
contributing to
just
that.
capitalizing on social issues is ultimately gross. Now, that said, the Mogul merch rainbow socks are available.
And if you're gay, then you get them. And if you don't get them, you're actually homophobic.
That's right.
That's right.
And so that's
this
our
is so
stance.
binary. You're either gay or homophobic.
You're either gay or homophobic. Pick a side. All right? I'm tired of people not picking a side.
Well, we've about reached our tattered edge of the podcast on this day.
Hopefully some big insight on the origins of the yard. Now you have a good picture in your mind. I'm going to go look it up. I'm going to look it up on Zillow.
See, dude.
It can't be that
Dude,
expensive.
I bet it's burned down
We should burn it down. We should burn it down so it's just a yard.
before we buy. Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's
only
the,
a yard.
the lot is just a yard.
Yeah, and
then
then
people go and then just give their offering.
They leave like Slim Jims
Yeah.
and fucking all kinds
I
of
bet
shit.
there's like mushrooms sprouting in the backyard where we used to piss.
Dude, there's
yeah.
probably like an unseen like strain.
I have
Don B
one-
probably has a child that's there somewhere.
Where's my dad?
I have one old memory of this. You guys, I think because you guys asked for roommates at some point on the Facebook page, the SoCal Melee Facebook page, and there's a photo of the house with like a car out front, and I remembered seeing that post and thinking to myself, that looks nice.
Oh, imagine the
Yeah.
timeline crosses earlier.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Wow.
Again, hey, all beautiful listeners, if you guys want to help out, hit the download button if you made it this far on all future pods, past pods.
You know what I'll say?
Pods present?
You know what's even more helpful than downloading? You want to be a super simp. You want to be our best friend.
Oh, that's
No,
huge.
you can't say that.
Okay. We're
What?
gonna cut
You
that
can't
out.
say. You have to say rate it. However good you think it is.
Guys, you know what helps out a lot if you could go and rate the podcast.
whatever
you
think. Maybe I think it's.
I would
said
give
that.
it a high rating if it were me doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, check.
So-
If it was
Also,
there.
even if you watch it on YouTube, if you just go download it on like Spotify.
Oh, we got a
or
clip
Apple.
channel, by the way.
Yeah,
we
I was
have
gonna
a
say that
clip
too.
channel
Clip channel
Hey!
that we've uploaded no clips to yet.
There's one
He won't
great
give us
video
one.
on it.
Yeah. And so, sub to the clip channel. It is not for kids. I made sure to click that option, which Nick didn't do.
No,
when he
I
made this
fucking did it right.
channel, and
It was a
Or do
bug.
none of this and finish your workout and go talk to a loved one. Who gives a shit? Either way, thanks for listening. We'll see you all here next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.